You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this final Monday? Heck, it's the final day of February. The madness is nearly upon us. Actually, it started on Saturday. We'll get to that in a moment. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Hope you had a terrific weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. How are you?
I'm doing good. Lack of sleep last night. Maybe hit it a little hard over the weekend. Had an old friend in town.
Maybe hit it a little hard. There's usually no maybe to that.
Well, I did.
Okay.
I was overserved.
Or actually, you were properly served. You wanted this, remember?
Oh, no, I did. It was funny. You know, he had a hotel room, and so I go over and see him on Saturday after we had dinner Friday night, and he said, I slept for 12 hours. I don't know the last time I slept for 12 hours.
Right.
I said, I usually get up at 5. I woke up at 8. So, yeah, it was a good night.
Good. Great to hear. I do like your new haircut. I don't know if people are in the family either noticed, which is a sore spot in my family because, well, my wife has noticed like 2 haircuts of mine in the last 15 years. I don't want to say she stopped paying attention or anything. So, I mean, now people in our Twitch chat room are like, hey, what'd the wife say about the haircut? I'm like, well, I got it 2 weeks ago. She still hasn't said a word.
No, very happy in the household about the haircut because my wife was ready to leave me over the hair. Trust me, she noticed.
Well, you had like a 70s thing that was going, which was becoming an 80s thing in the back.
When my wife called me Nick Saban, that was time. When she flat out says, you look like Nick Saban, I don't think that's a compliment.
Huh, really? Most people would find any connection to Nick Saban a compliment these days, except the fact that he is 70.
Right. I'm 52. You look like Coach Saban. Get your hair cut.
Miller and Moulton, Felipe, hope you had a good weekend.
Had a good weekend.
Do anything at all besides schoolwork?
Well, I went to both FGCU basketball games on Saturday. That was fun.
There you go. His final regular season college games of his college career, unless he wants to go on the 5-year plan, of which, by the way, both Miller and Moulton were big fans of.
As a red shirt.
We took a COVID year before there was a COVID year.
Exactly.
Right. Listen, I don't know how many of you, I got to be honest. I don't know how many of you have paid attention to college basketball. It's
not yet. The season hasn't started for most of them.
Exactly. And I understand, tomorrow you'll be like, oh, wow, it's March. I got to brush up on maybe some of the teams that are going to be in the bracket. Saturday was amazing. Absolutely amazing. How amazing was it? Thanks for asking. It had never happened before in the history of college basketball. That's pretty good.
That's pretty amazing.
If you don't know what happened, that's what we're here for. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9 all lost. Now, in fairness, all of them were on the road.
Right. Number 5 did lose to number 10.
Correct. Number 1 lost to a ranked St. Mary's team.
On the road.
Number 2 lost to a ranked Tennessee team. Number 6 lost to a ranked Arkansas team. Purdue lost at Michigan State. It's a tournament team. The only loss in which you went, was number 9 Texas Tech. They lost at TCU. And you were like, oh, that's a pretty average team. You guys should have beat them. But it shaped up, and you mentioned it on Friday. You said, hey, this is a great slate of games. And they all lost.
Right.
All of them.
We've claimed on this show for the better part of a decade that the last true home advantage is in college basketball. David and I are of the belief that there is no home advantage in baseball, really. That there is no home advantage in football. It was proven over and over this season. College and pro, for that matter.
Last 3 years in the NFL, home teams have barely won more games than they've lost.
But college hoop, the refs, are influenced by fans. They're human. The fans are right on top of you. The coaches are right on top of you. And we think that college basketball, with some of the great gyms that remain, offer that last opportunity for a home court advantage. And boy, oh boy, the teams take advantage on Saturday.
Which, of course, then leads to, not that you and I have a vote or anything, but so when you sit down to do your top 25, do you just move Duke up from number 7 to number 1, or do you look around and go, well, since everybody lost, why don't we just leave it the same? I mean, I am curious later today. I never care anything about the top 25 rankings. I am going to be curious later today as to what they spit them out as.
Well, look, I just got to see Baylor ahead of Kansas.
Okay.
I mean, that's Baylor was number 10 that beat number 5. Don't we have to at least make them 7 and 8?
Well, but then again, Kansas is ahead of them in the standings. They're in first in the Big 12. So, that's why. I mean, listen, we all justify our opinions with whatever evidence that we have, but I mean, I don't know if there'll be any change in the top 25. I mean, hell, if everybody loses, they just go nothing to see here. But for the record, Gonzaga, Arizona, Auburn, Purdue, Kansas, Kentucky, numbers 1 through 6. Some tremendous games on that list. I mean, the Kentucky-Arkansas game was big time. I mean, that had a tournament feel to it. So the madness is underway, albeit a little bit early, but then again, the tournament gets underway about as early as it can also, Mark. And it gets underway on the 15th.
For the first 2 play-in games, and 15th, 16th play-in, and then the tournament starts on St. Patrick's Day with the full slate of games.
Shocker out of Tampa Bay yesterday, huh? You don't expect 28-year-old professional football players to say, I'm done. I'm out of here. Ali Marpette, good player.
Really good player.
Yeah. Says, I'm going to follow Tom into the sunset. He just played 16 years longer than I did.
Boy, does that team look different all of a sudden.
Well, especially since the 2 guys who were next to him are free agents. Yeah. The strength of the team was Brady and the offensive line.
Right.
Followed by the wide receivers.
Right.
AB gets himself essentially thrown out of the league, although Lamar and the Ravens may offer him a lifeline. Godwin's a free agent. I mean, all of a sudden we could come back. It'll be like 1 offensive lineman and Mike Evans.
Right. Gronk could very well be gone.
Yep.
And 3 of the 5 linemen
could be gone.
Right. Okay. Other
Right.
than that, how was the play?
We'll have 2 tackles and Mike Evans.
What about Lenny?
He's a free agent.
Oh, that's right.
And we'll see how many, it's one thing to have everybody come back after you win it. We're going to run this thing back sort of deal. Move some stuff around cap-wise and all that. But also, it's another thing when you got Tom Brady as your chief recruiter. Now, no Brady. I don't know about you, Mark. I just don't see the guys being as enthused. I could be wrong in Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask. Call me crazy, but I mean, we love ourselves a BA, but BA is going to have to do some recruiting.
Yeah, BA might be leaving too. BA might say this is BS and I'm done here.
I don't think he wants to hand either Leftwich or Bowles a mess, though. I don't. I think he'll stick around, take a couple on the chin to set things up.
Perhaps.
Well, so far.
Perhaps. Because that right now looks to be a bad team. The good news is it's a bad division.
Yes. Very
It's shaping
bad.
up to be the worst division in the National Football League.
Well, it's trying to. I mean, it's got the NFC East on the line saying, the Bucs are saying to the NFC East, hey, if we fall apart, you guys may not be the worst. I mean, the Saints are 178 million over the cap. That's only a slight exaggeration. They're like 78 million.
Let's take the 100 off, and you're
Right.
really, really close.
But I mean, Green Bay has got some maneuverability here. They're already restructuring deals and this, that, and the other thing. And they're going to get there. You have to. But,
Well, the Saints did too. They restructured Thomas, so it looks like they're going to try to keep him now.
Right. But they've got.
Oh, it's a start.
I mean, if you take the two worst teams not named the Saints and how far they are over the cap and combine them, the Saints are that plus 10 million. I mean, they got work to do. So, Ali Marpette walking away.
Huge surprise. We've seen more of that in the last few years, though. I mean, we shouldn't be as surprised when younger players say, no, I'm done.
But I think you're always surprised when you see an athlete in which the first digit's a 2 in the age box walk away. I mean, it's one thing to walk away when they're in their early 30s and everybody goes, wow, I thought he had 2-3 more years he could play. When you walk away at 28 and you go, basically, yeah, I'm doing it for my overall physical health. It's another one of those in which you go, wow, yeah, this game sure does take a lot out of you.
No question about it. No question at all.
Miller and Moulton. Hope you had a great weekend. We're thankful that you're starting your week off with us. 12 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Here's the only problem. When you start putting other boots on the ground, what if he decides he's going to let one of those nukes go?
Oh, I understand that. But, I mean, here's my thing, though. Come on now. Isn't this why this was created? So, I will say, though, he has united Europe, which is a pretty tough thing to do. See, I don't know what the end game is for him. I mean, if they overtake the government, what, they're going to run the country? It's a huge effing country. Not going to be able to run it. The people aren't going to be with them. All right. I mean, it, obviously he's not sane, but this is a total clusterfuck. And how are you going to be able to get out and claim victory? Because unless you've killed everybody,
Right.
and you're running the government, okay, I mean, does he go back to those two little things on the border and just takes them and claims that as, I mean, that's my biggest fear, is that he doesn't have a win here, and he's got to be able to claim a win.
Yeah.
But he's totally now united Europe, and he's probably going to, if he doesn't overrun that country, he's probably going to have that country accepted into NATO, which will be an economic boom for that country.
For the Ukraine?
Yeah.
You have to assume this is the end of Putin.
Why?
I mean, again, what's his end game here? It's just
the difference between, you said this is the end of him and his end game in Ukraine and his end game aren't anywhere near the same.
How will he recover from this?
He's a dictator.
That'd be the way I'd go with.
Until you kill them, they do just fine.
Well, I mean,
everybody that is in his country backs him.
But he's resorted to what seems like pointless violence.
God, I've never heard of a dictator doing that before.
Oh, I know, but
haven't heard what Dominic Hasek has said. I'm trying not to pay attention. Hmm.
$30 seconds.
He wants him to suspend all the NHL players, all the Russians' contracts in the league. That's what he wants.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Really?
10 seconds.
And what if the Canadian government, has a problem with what we're doing in the U.S. and they're going to suspend all the American contracts? I mean, just.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
19 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for joining us. Roy Cummings will join us a little bit later on to talk about where the Bucs go from here. Had to catch him by surprise. The retirement of Ali Marpette. Although, isn't it? I mean, it sucks that he made it seem as if he had to for health reasons, but wow, retiring at 28.
It's a dream most of us
Right.
will never realize.
Well, it's a dream. I don't even think you dream.
Shooting for 58. I mean, come on.
Hell, I'm shooting for 68 at this stage of the game. Text the show if you never have before. All one word, FSN Radio to 21,000. And why don't you take us in on Twitch? It's the Miller and Moulton channel on twitch.tv. Many of you are sampling us, and we appreciate that. While you're there, follow us, subscribe if you really like the show, and you can comment. During the commercial breaks, I mean, we just did a little politics, which we don't do often anymore. But we just did a little politics about the world at large during that commercial break. Feel free to watch and chime in the Twitch chat room.
That was rare for you. Since we've gone to Twitch, prior to Twitch, when the commercials were ours, this was the BBC.
Right.
We did the news.
We talk politics all the time.
Once the communication lines were open,
right,
That became a little more dangerous.
Well, because this just in, Mark, we're not getting along as well as we used to.
No.
People are not as tolerant of other points of view as they used to be during our first act, which seems forever ago now. But it only ended about a half dozen years ago. But yet that's an eternity compared to how things have changed in those 5-6 years. And so, yes, during Act 2, we became very non-political during the commercial breaks. But with the events of the last week or so, we just had a little 5 to 7 minute
little world
thing.
events.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
How much are you watching? How much are you watching? That sort of deal. What do you think? What do you think? So there you go.
And that'll probably be the end of that for
It could be.
next couple months.
Yeah. Hopefully. I will say that. Hopefully it will be. I am impressed at all the athletes, though, all the Ukrainian athletes. And right now, it seems as if you're a boxer, you've come back and you're going to war. I mean, the latest is Lomachenko,
Right.
who's a 2-time gold medal winning fighter and is in those pound for pound top 10 lists in the world, even though he's 34. I mean, he's a hell of a fighter. And he's got a title fight coming up in about 3 months, which will be interesting how he's going to train for it since.
Like Rocky did.
We laugh because
in 4.
we don't want to think of the alternative. But yeah, I mean, he's joined the Klitschko brothers and a few others heading back to their native land there. So obviously, we're all paying attention to various degrees, and we hope somehow, some way, it gets a whole heck of a lot better. Hey, you pointed out something during the break. Good to hear. We spent a lot of time talking up the St. Pete Grand Prix. We had an event last week in Fort Myers to help promote it, and apparently people went to the St. Pete Grand Prix.
At least from what I gathered, Matt Baker, who comes on the show to talk Gators and Knowles with us from time to time, was covering the race and said in all his time there, he's never seen that many people. He said, just an eyeball view, not anything on pure attendance, but it looked far busier than ever before. I watched 12, 15 laps just because I wanted to see the setup. And if it looked like it was full of people, it's tough. One thing it's really tough to do is watch a street race and try to figure out where the crowd is.
Yes. It's a dadgum good point.
But they ended up with a pretty good race.
And a newbie won it. So
good crowd. People out in St. Pete. People happy about that. So always nice when they can deliver. At least, it's not like it was lousy yesterday.
No, it's not like it's lousy right now. My goodness. Near record highs throughout various parts of the state.
And fortunately for them, they didn't get the last, 15 minutes of what the golf got.
Yeah.
Where the guys just decided they would unload.
Only on the golf course, though. They showed the radar and basically, and it was a pretty nice storm, but it settled pretty much right over the golf course.
It was pure Florida. It really was. That was showing the world what Florida's all about because it unloaded on those guys.
Dan Hicks and the NBC crew were commenting, and Azinger, who lives on the west coast of Florida, just said, "Yeah, that's Florida, guys." And Dan even joked and said, "You're used to this." And he goes, "Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah."
Thought it was fantastic.
You know what? To me, and golf is covered differently than the other major sports, but I mean, Daniel Berger choked yesterday. Come on. I mean, just
flat out,
just say it. I mean, he choked. I mean, come on. You have a 5-shot lead, you finish 4th, and you hit a couple different balls into the water. And, I mean, you choked early. I mean, his only 2 birdies, I think he chipped in for both. So, I mean, that's just.
He came back to the pack before. I mean, you had to watch the Golf Channel to see him choke.
I mean, a guy had a 5-shot lead, and all of a sudden when NBC comes on, he's down 1. It's like, what? What in the world happened? So, and it happens, believe it or not, a little more often than we talk about. The whole winning thing, I mean, these guys who seem robotic, not a ton of personality on the tour during the course of rounds and what have you. Maybe some of them give good quotes afterwards and are entertaining on Twitter and social media and the like. But during the rounds, it's a lot of robotic. And so you look at them and you don't think that, he's going to fall apart. There are a ton of guys who have multiple shot 54-hole leads who do not win.
And even the guy who won last week, played brilliantly.
Yeah.
For the first 36 and played pretty good through 54. All of a sudden,
on Sunday,
his first 9 holes, he got it back together and he did win.
Right. But
he earned the Pepsi AC that he took before that round, if you know what I'm saying.
I mean, he wasn't quite Chris Berman on bumbling and stumbling, but the mouth was dry. There's no question about it. He struggled for an even par round to get that horse into the barn, as we like to say.
And then at the same time, with Berger choking the kid that won it, that Straka kid, to hit a shot in the elements on the 18th par 5, that's reasonably clutch.
I will say, because of the audio, if you weren't watching, first off, I mean, you know what it's like in Florida. You're having one of them late afternoon, right as dinner time thunderstorms. So it gets dark. And so it's dark and all the microphones are catching the rain. And so it's just, how sometimes it's raining and you don't hear it. And then there's sometimes when it's raining and you can really hear it. And these microphones are getting pelted with big Florida thunderstorm rain. And it sounds and looks bad.
Right. I will correct. I mean, rainstorm, because obviously they wouldn't play golf in a thunderstorm with lightning, but it was a torrential downpour. It was coming down in buckets.
They were playing through the red and the orange on the radar.
Well, when Berger hits his drive on 18, whoever the on-course commentator says matter-of-factly, well, I couldn't see it, but he picked up his tee pretty fast, so I think he's happy with it.
It was probably Maltby. I think Maltby gets the leaders and Berger was in the final group.
So it was just, it made for good television. Then by the time they got to the fairways, it had calmed a little bit with the rain. But for 6-7 minutes, it was coming down hard.
And one final golf note before we break. Statistically, this course over at Palm Beach, and Nicklaus, either designed or redesigned it, and the last 4 holes are called the Bear Trap, and it's all around water, and a lot of things can happen, good and bad. And so it does make it interesting, and it gives a rather nondescript tournament something to hang their hat on. Oh, yeah, that's the one with the Bear Trap. Oh, okay, got it. But, the winning score there is usually not low. I mean, 6 under is won recently. 10 under won yesterday, which is what the lead was after 36 holes, oh, by the way. And so there's a lot of people that don't play there because it's too tough. They don't like it. Yet what that tournament does consistently is the winning score is never low. But the average round is actually almost identical every year to the week before at Riviera. So Joaquin, like last week's tournament, the average round was 71.3 something. Well, in this tournament, the average round was 71.3 something. Now it is a par 70. All right. Versus Riviera 71.
71, I think.
But Neiman wins at 19 under. Straka wins at 10. Okay. And yet the average score is right there. And yet one has its reputation and the other has the, you don't want to go there. It's hard. It's not enjoyable, what have you. So it's funny perceptions.
And the start of the Florida swing now. And, well, there are guys that don't play this just the way other guys don't play the California swing. There are guys that don't play the Florida swing.
Right. They go to Arnie next week or this week. Miller and Moulton. The starting five is next. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I mean, they should have shown the shot in the fairway. Almost. He hit his drive so fast. Lowry. Did you see how quickly? Were you watching it?
I was watching it, yeah.
He just ran up and hit his drive. Like, I do not want to be in the water. I don't want to get wet. It's unusual. Might be you, E. I don't know. I'm not seeing it from everybody else. See, there you go. Holy cow, I didn't realize that. That's good to know. I didn't realize he ended up finishing 30th. Good for him. Doesn't get him in next week, but nice little check. You probably have it, but the Sting just tweeted out today was the final episode of MASH. 122 million people.
I had 25. That's bigger than any Super Bowl.
It's the most watched episode of any show ever, right?
Yeah. Don't think so, Nick.
One minute.
But I'll say this, Marpette, who said he's going to stay in the area. I mean, maybe if you're the Bucs, you work him into your broadcast.
Yeah, they're going to do just fine.
Well, and you wait. Durant comes back this week. All right, the following week, Kyrie will be allowed to play when they're lifting restrictions.
Mm-hmm. The NBA's heating up.
Well, the East is heating up.
Right.
Although
the West is...
Well, the only reason the West is getting interesting is Chris Paul's out for 6 weeks.
Right.
But
teams can catch up now. All right, we're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Rapidly approaching 22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for waking up with us, so to speak. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Hope you had a good weekend. And, well, all right, let's gear up. Let's gear up. We're heading into March. Year's moving along. Things are getting better, right? Yeah. Little Monday morning pep talk.
Okay.
I don't know if you need it.
I thought things were pretty good.
Right. That's like I said, I gave a pep talk and somebody listening might be going, I don't need a pep talk. I'm fine.
I'm good. Go team.
Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
You know, we've yet to bring this up this morning. But you know, today's the day, baby. It's deadline day.
Sure is.
If you missed it, and I'm guessing most of you did. So Saturday didn't go well. The players blinked first. The players sat down and gave what, at least based on these negotiations, Mark, was considered a legitimate proposal. They backed off 2 or 3 significant issues. Said, hey, I know we've been asking for this, but we're going to come in down here. And by all accounts, the owners basically laughed at the players. The players were so honked off, as they were walking out the door, they're like, I don't even know if we should come back. Apparently, there were like 10 players there. 7 of them went home. They were like, well, there's no need to be here. There was like Scherzer and 2 others that stuck around for yesterday. So they came back, and apparently most everybody wasn't in the negotiations. It was just like 4 people. The heads of both sides and then like their lieutenants. And they did a lot of talking. Apparently some progress was made, but the sides are considered still, quote, far apart. Today's the deadline.
Right.
So barring a seismic shift from one of the 2 sides, I guess, Mark, at the end of business today, Major League Baseball has a decision to make. So was that a hard deadline or not? And so far, based on how they've conducted their side of the negotiations,
it's a rock hard deadline.
Yeah, I would expect opening day and maybe the first week of games to be canceled within the next 12 hours. So there you have it. Huh?
Way to go, guys.
Let the good times roll.
Not like you had any opportunities here.
No, it's not like the playing field, the landscape's wide open right now. And Mark, I don't know about you, but on the scale of 1 to 10, of the American public and the sports fan base, if you will, being in the mood for labor discontent. And obviously a bunch of people arguing over billions of dollars, whether the issues are legitimate or not in their world. And they are.
And the only thing I wonder, it's kind of where, we are in Florida and we're a little honked off about spring training because economically it hurts and all those things. But Florida's not a baseball state. It's just not. I don't know if around Boston they're honked off. I don't know if in New York they're honked off right now. I know from my Michigan friends, they don't care. I don't sense... I sense more apathy than anything else right now.
It's funny you say that. Filled in on a national show. Now, granted, it was the overnight shift. So, it's...
So you and the truckers.
Yeah, and literally first person who called in was a trucker who was driving from Oklahoma to Texas to pick up his load and take it to Colorado. And he thanked me for keeping him company. I'm like, well, it was going to be me or somebody else. So, and my poll question on the show was, so what's your attitude towards this? A was anger and despair. B was tap me on the shoulder and tell me when the season starts. C is, they've already lost me. I'm out. C1. You got to remember, if you're listening to this was Mad Dog Radio. This is a hardcore sports channel who talks more baseball than any channel in America that's a national channel not named MLB Network Radio. And C1 going away, and B was a solid second. So the one result, if you're Major League Baseball, you actually want, I think, is anger and disgust, because then at least there's still passion.
Correct.
Yeah, distant third. I mean, the few people who called in who had anger and disgust were basically mocked by the rest who would call in going, dude, get over it. So there you go. That's what we have to look forward to today. I'm just curious, will the players continue? Because they're the ones that keep moving closer and closer to the owners, by the way.
Well, that's the main thing I'd seen. The players had caved on the postseason teams, and that was the big thing the owners wanted.
Well, all right, the owners, for those not paying close attention, we have 10 teams make the baseball postseason now. Owners want 14. Players have said we're willing to go to 12. Yesterday, I believe, was the first time they said, we'll go to 14, but we need you to do this, this, and this. And they were not huge asks either. I mean, I looked at it from the owner's perspective, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll give you all three of those for two more postseason teams. I mean, you're giving me over $150 million annually by doing this. And the owners, of course, are like, no. The owners seem, if this is a divorce negotiation, they're the ones that seem in this for blood sport.
It's obvious. It's like they want to crush the strongest union in sport, and they're hell-bent on not having anything less than a 100% victory.
And I guess we'll find out today. Whether or not, A, they can come to some sort of deal, which seems very unlikely, but then whether or not their line in the sand is in fact a line in the sand. Tampa Bay Bucs Pro Bowl guard Ali Marpette suddenly, shockingly, one would say, retired yesterday at the age of 28 after 7 terrific years. He was a third-round pick from a Division III school and started right away and was terrific at either guard or center for the Bucs. He cited his, quote, overall health, unquote, as for why it is he's retiring. 28-year-old Ali Marpette. Nice little career, thank you very much.
Right.
If he had kept playing, he likely would be a Ring of Honor guy, to be honest.
Yep. Made $37+ million.
And he made it in Florida, so he keeps more of it than a lot of other places. So, yeah, handle your money well. One good investment, right?
One would think.
FIFA will not ban Russia from the World Cup, at least not yet. The other nations are asking FIFA to do just that. However, Mark, they did come down really hard on Russia. All right. They stripped them of being able to use their flag and sing their anthem during any of the FIFA World Cup qualifying. Mark, here's going to be the problem for Russia, though, and for FIFA. See, Russia's in a World Cup qualifying group, kind of like the U.S. is in CONCACAF and top whatever qualify. Well, Russia has 3 more matches to play in World Cup qualifying, just like the U.S. does, beginning later in March. Yeah, those 3 matches are against Poland, Sweden, and the Czech Republic. All 3 countries have come out and said they're not going to play them. That seems
then
to
there's
be
that.
Right. If you're FIFA, and while I am chuckling, I'll be serious here. If you're FIFA, what do? I mean, you could turn around and say, hey, you don't run this, we do. You could give them walkover wins. You could give them 3, fine, you didn't show up for the match. That's a win. You guys not going to show up? That's a win. By the way, that's 3 points for them in group qualifying. And
don't you have to play them, try to rough them up, and plan on the refs not giving any calls to the Russians? I'm not joking here.
So as of right now, Poland, Sweden, and the Czech Republic have said, well, we ain't playing them, so you might as well ban them. This does also bring into the fact, I mean, listen, I'm assuming everyone listening, no one is in support of what Russia is doing here. But if you're a sports league, do you want, I mean, this is obviously, I mean, is this getting involved in politics or is this just getting involved in the world?
B.
So you would have no problem if,
David, if FIFA took Russia and said they're done for the World Cup right now, it would be the wise move. You put every sanction, and I'm sorry, we're going to walk down this road. I'm going to just finish in 2 sentences.
But it's a legit
if
question.
we're going to walk down this road, and you're going to sanction them. I mean, I laughed. I thought what you were going to say is they're going to have trouble because FedEx and UPS said they're not delivering to Russia anymore, so they can't get their jerseys. I thought maybe that's what you meant was going to happen there. But if you're actually going to impose these sanctions, and we're going to be serious about this, then don't let them play. Take everything away. Every damn thing.
It's a legitimate question, though.
And then break a bottle of Stoli over someone's head. Call it a day.
Well, I do love the fact that they're in certain places, they're taking the Russian vodka off the shelves.
Tito's, people. Tito's. Right. Made in America.
Vasily Lomachenko, a top 10 fighter in the world, a 34-year-old lightweight. He has flown back home. He was training for his June unifying title fight, but he has joined the Klitschko brothers in joining the Ukrainian defense. On a much lighter note, to the NBA, James Harden, 24 points, 16 assists, 29 points, 16 assists, 10 rebounds. Thank you very much. Embiid with 37. The Sixers rolled the Knicks. Who can't roll the Knicks these days? Dallas came from 19 down with 10 minutes to go at Golden State to beat the Warriors 107-101. Phoenix has lost 2 in a row without Chris Paul. Imagine that. He was like top 4 for MVP. 118-114 Jazz. Indiana roughed up the Celtics. Where did this come from? Beat them by 21. Denver beat Portland by 32. I think you can put the Lakers in the Knicks category. They've lost 9 of 12. The Pelicans came into Staples, which is no longer Staples, and beat them by 28. Clippers and Pistons with 1-point wins over the Rockets and Hornets, respectively. College hoops, Illinois won at Michigan. Maryland beat Ohio State when they honored the 2002 national championship team. UConn and Houston were ranked. They were victorious. The big story was Saturday when the top 6 teams in the country all lost. That had never happened before. Mark, I want to give you 2 women's basketball notes. First off, the Gators, and we have complimented them for the last 6 weeks. What a remarkable season they've had. They got up to number 15 in the polls. They've lost 3 straight. Missouri beat them in Gainesville yesterday by 5. All right. This was a battle of top 15 teams. I don't know if you saw this. Louisville's a top 5 team.
Right.
Notre Dame's a top 15 team. They're probably a 4 seed.
Right. I did see the first quarter score. I saw some score first, second quarter at one point.
All right. Now, think about this. 2 top 15 teams. The 14th ranked team in the country is at home. They were losing at the end of the first quarter, which is 10 minutes, 31-3. They're top 15 team in the country at home. They're down 28. And then Louisville scores the first 10 points of the second quarter. 13 minutes into the game, Louisville's up 41-3.
That was the score and it might have even been 47-5 also, because I saw a couple of scores just flipping channels that I stopped myself in my tracks and I went, what in the hell?
Yeah.
Because UConn played against Providence and they did the same thing. Difference. Providence not ranked.
Right. And not at home. Right. Unbelievable. NASCAR, Kyle Larson won at Fontana. Mark, your son's one for 2, picking Kyle Larson in all the races this year. Austin Dillon second. Daniel Suarez with a great pit stop late to salvage a top 5. Our buddy Ross Chastain was 29th. He did have a fast car, but had problems once again. And Daytona winner Austin Cindric finished 12th. Scott McLaughlin won the Firestone Grand Prix in St. Pete. A lot of hockey yesterday, not really noteworthy. The 2 noteworthy things, Mark, happened Saturday. Panthers lost their 3rd in a row at home.
Right.
And did you see the Stadium Classic in Nashville? 68,000 on hand. A lot of them from Tampa, thank you very much. Lightning beat the Preds 3-2. In golf, Daniel Berger blew a 5-shot lead. He finished tied for 4th. Sepp Straka. Sepp, S-E-P-P. He's from Austria. First ever Austrian to win on the PGA Tour. Birdie's 18, wins the Honda in Palm Beach by 1 over Shane Lowry, who's still looking for his first win since he won the Open Championship. And that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I wanted your opinion. I know we don't mix sports and politics very often, but I wanted your opinion about whether or not this is politics or whether this goes way beyond that, and whether or not professional leagues should get involved.
Well,
here.
And I know FIFA's kind of professional, but it's more on the countryside. I just think, Dominic Hasek, the former goaltender, wants the NHL to suspend all Russian players. Now the NHL is not going to do that.
Nor should they.
But to suspend the Russian team, because you're playing under the flag, essentially. And so what's this BS? Oh, you can't play under the flag in the anthem? No, you can't play. Period. End of sentence. Don't go halfway.
Hate to punish the athletes, but
don't know what to tell you.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf.
where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Napa.
Well, they took the Russian Grand Prix away from him too, right? They took that away last week,
They
right?
took what? Is it the Champions League? Who was it who took
That was the
away?
Champions League. They took the UEFA Cup or whatever it is.
Ooh, E, update us about that. E's doing the Harden wife test right now. That would have been a good poll question. Does your wife know who James Harden is? Yes or no?
I am doing the wife test right now about Harden. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Found out yesterday Steph Curry's a lot higher on my wife's list than I realized.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, on the recognition list or
No,
just
on
the list?
the list. Not
Oh,
on the recognition
wow.
list. E.
Wow, look at her.
Yeah,
I mean, the cougar there.
Because it was. Oh, he's got great eyes. I love his eyes.
He does. I'll give her that.
Because what did I say? I'm like he made a sick behind the back move yesterday, left-handed behind the back, and went in for a pretty cool layup. I go, that is sexy right there. And she goes, that sure is.
Was that in the first quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Did you see?
Here's the Grand Prix. See if they see any crowd shots. I doubt that.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, look
Oh,
at
it's packed.
grandstand's
Yeah.
packed.
How about that?
I just laugh when they're going the wrong way down roads and I'm seeing the 35-mile-an-hour sign. But McLaren had like a massive pit stop or like late race that he had to get in to save the lap, and that's what I think won it for him. They were all going nuts when or McLaughlin rather.
I was going to say McLaren. Is this F1? She passed. Kardashian thinks she knew. Yep. There it is, Chloe.
Look at that. Look at that.
Telling you, man.
That was some insight. That, you had some insight on that one.
It had to be Steve. It had to be. No other reason. Ten seconds.
to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope you had a great weekend. And thanks for starting your week off with us. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Text the show if you never have before. You need to send a text. FSN Radio, all one word. FSN Radio to 21,000. If you've already done that before, well, then you know. And continue to text away. You can also watch and chime in. Miller and Moulton broadcast live every day on, get this, the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. And you can watch the show, you can comment on the show, and we talk to one another during the commercial breaks also. So it's kind of an interactive thing. Check it out if you can. We knew over a quarter of a century ago that if there was going to be a strike in baseball with games missed, and it turned out, playoffs in the World Series got canceled. And we all knew at the time, we're like, this is going to hurt. They're kidding themselves if they think that we're just going to come back with bells on in 95. And, we stopped for 1-2 days late in the 95 season to honor Cal Ripken. 21-30 and then 21-31. And then we continued on with our lives. And if it wasn't for McGuire and Sosa in 98, I have no idea. Do you where baseball would be today?
I don't. I really don't, David, because it was that summer. It was McGuire and Sosa that brought the game back. It was leading off the nightly news.
Yeah.
You have to stop and think for a moment that at 6:30, it was in the A block, or at least the B block, damn near every night.
And remember, this is pre-internet, basically. This is the early days of the internet, but you know what I mean. We're not gathering our information the way we are a generation later.
We don't have smartphones.
Right.
We're not watching highlights on our phone. So we still watch the news. And it's a lead story on the nightly news.
Whatever was on SportsCenter, on ESPN at night, they were breaking in to show you McGuire and Sosa at bats.
Right.
And then when McGuire's first attempt to break Maris's record, Fox aired the game in prime time. Yeah, non-playoff games. The only thing that gets aired in prime time before the playoffs is the All-Star game. Networks don't pick up regular season Major League Baseball games.
So we were captivated. All of us. I know I was.
And then that led into baseball had a glorious first decade of this century with the Cubs and the Red Sox, in 03, and then the Red Sox breakthrough in 04, and the Yankees dynasty trying to hold on. Baseball, that created a little something for themselves. And then in the last 5 years, the Cubs finally broke through. And, baseball's had its moments here in the 21st century.
No, it definitely has. And what I wonder, and I have, still have a few Red Sox friends, I've not heard them complaining yet. I've not heard the Yankee fan complaining yet. And that's why I said last hour, I don't know what the pulse is in St. Louis, in San Francisco, in the great baseball cities in our country.
Right, which then you're the owners, and I'm your PR person, and I'm saying, hey, do not take us over the cliff today, okay? Don't do it. Back them into as much of a corner as you can, but at some point, take out your piece of paper and get 2 signatures, all right? We cannot have a work stoppage. We cannot miss opening day. But if the answer is what you just said, which is, I don't know, most people seem to be apathetic towards this. Most people don't seem to care. Between all the stuff we've dealt with the last 2 years, I don't even know if this is the pimple on the back of our life. Does that bolster maybe the owners going, we can miss opening day. We can miss April. Trust me, we're good. Not going to hurt us at all.
So a couple people say a couple different things today. One is, if the owners are fine missing April, how sure are they that the fans don't care about missing May? That's a great question. But Jason Stark tweeted out some information, old info. He retweeted something he said on February 10th. He said, remember this quote from Rob Manfred. I consider missing games as a disastrous outcome for this industry. He said that on February the 10th. Well,
Here we are.
we're at disaster.
The brink of disaster. But is it, I guess, is what I'm asking. Deep down. Because remember, we're hockey fans. All right. Hockey took a year off. A year. And most every hockey fan came back. They quickly gathered more hockey fans, and the product and the sport was much better for it. So much so, when there was a work stoppage before the 2013 season, the players found out that the hockey fans were on the side of management and the owners, because the hockey fan basically said to the players, yeah, the last time we went down this road, the sport got better. So sign your damn contracts and start playing.
Here's the problem with that theory. Does anybody think, because they're not negotiating how to make baseball better right now. They're negotiating how to make baseball worse. They're doing nothing to fix the game, albeit add a couple of playoff teams, which keeps teams in it longer, but they're not changing anything about the sport.
We say, and the commissioner said, it would be disastrous for the industry. I guess I'm asking you, will it?
I think that it will, David, because I think people like me have had it with sports taking advantage of us. I don't know if I'm not much of a baseball fan anymore anyhow.
But you've admitted it's because your team
Right.
is going through a down period and they're just starting to come out of their rebuild, if
Right.
you will.
And I do like watching the Rays, and you know that. The Rays are definitely team two. I enjoy their broadcast. They make me smile. They do a good job. I don't know if I'm running to put the Rays back on a nightly basis right now. I might take May off too.
You know the Rays are going to keep winning while you take off, right?
They always keep winning.
Right.
As long as they're
Just-
playing, they're going to win.
just so you
David,
know.
David, if they're playing,
Right.
they're going to win 90 games. Do you know why? Because they're the Tampa Bay Rays. That's what
Exactly.
they do. They win 90 every year with a payroll of $14.80.
That email that you get will be the Rays going, we understand that you're taking a sabbatical right now. Just so you know, when you come back, we'll be there. We'll be at the top of the standings.
Right. We'll be somewhere between first and third within 4 games.
The Yankees will be spending $30 million more than us than they were previously, and yet we'll still be ahead of them in the standings, just so you know.
And probably take 3 or 4 from them every time they come to town.
With more of their fans in the stands than ours. But that's okay. That's okay.
We don't really care if Rays fans takes the day off because we don't know if we ever had you in the first place.
But you
We
know,
have you on TV and radio. We just don't have you in the ballpark.
so that's my question. And I don't know if that should be the poll question or not. I don't know if that's a little too deep. But there's a part of me, Mark, that thinks, first off, conventional wisdom's had a good 5-year run where it's been wrong. I mean, it just has. I mean, it's to the point now where whatever the talking heads in news, sports, life say, just go the other way. They're wrong. And, you know, you could throw us in with that too. Goodness knows we're wrong a lot. But, you know, we don't have any influence and we're not trying to have any influence. But I really don't know how much this will hurt them if they go down the road that it appears they're 8 to 12 hours away from going down.
You really don't think this will hurt them that much? Do you think that their base is that strong? And I don't mean because remember, strong doesn't mean that they've got a lot of them. It just means that their base isn't leaving.
Okay.
That's all I am saying.
I'm not saying this to get into this type of discussion. So I will just make it as broad as I can. There's a certain political figure out there right now who once joked that I could walk down Fifth Avenue and shoot 4 people and it wouldn't affect my polling at all. And there's a part of the baseball fan who called in to a national show and said, I got to admit, I'm 62 years old and I've been through it all. I've been through the 81 strike, the this, that. I'll be there when they're done. Whenever they're done, I'll be there. I'm a baseball fan. I love the game, the whole deal. I'll be there. I'll just be there. And you're right now a casual baseball fan.
Yes.
You're vulnerable. I can tell you right now, when baseball comes back, I'll be there. I will. Now, I'm not getting worked up about this at all. They could take the whole damn year off. I don't care. But I will tell you, when they come back, I'll be there. I'm not supporting what's going on right now. I'd like to take both sides and slap them.
No. You're being honest.
But
you're simply saying that when they come back,
I'll be there.
I'm going to watch the Mets.
Absolutely. I'm
It's
going to
my
watch
team. I watch baseball.
Right.
I like baseball.
Yes, I will watch DeGrom on opening day and Scherzer the next day. Damn right I will. All in.
Probably bet on the Mets on opening day. It's a really good bet.
It's a great bet. Look it up.
Miller and Moulton, giving you great bets occasionally and bad bets the majority of the time. Regardless, we thank you for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Seconds out.
I'm fine.
I figured you would be, because that sound, but I said to Albert, I go, Albert, that takes production.
Right.
Someone's got to do that. That's not my, I said, someone's got to physically do that.
Right.
And it's got to be done right.
No, I'm fine. I've thought about it, actually, since our conversations last week. Yeah, like
13, 14. We just need a couple more minutes top of the hour.
yes, because if we have an interview, we need,
And then we do our interviews top of the hour.
yes,
And we don't do that middle segment's a little shorter. We either go top of the hour, bottom of the hour.
right. See, and here's my thought: if we go to 14, supposedly it's 7,
Right.
so then we go 21 to 31,
Right.
right? So then we come back, we do 38 to
54.
right. So it's a good 60. So it gives us 13 minutes and 16
Yep.
minutes. That's where we do our interviews.
Right.
Okay. I'm fine with that. And a middle 10.
Right.
Yeah. So we're doing 39.40 an hour.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sure. But the first one we got was
No, I know. There was like
10
11.
minutes.
Yeah, no, I know. And look, I don't even know if he's talked to Mark, but he just said to me, he goes, I was on the phone with Westwood One, and the guy from Westwood says, and I agree with him 100%. The schedule, the timing's got to work for the tail end. Okay. I go, that clock doesn't work for us. I go, we're close to it. I go, but that first segment's just too short.
Did you look up, by the way, whether or not we missed it or it was us?
That's what he said.
Okay.
That's what he thought he read. You read something different. He goes, I'm gonna have to read it again. I said, I said, I gotta go.
I didn't read it. I just asked.
So I don't know. But I think going down the road, this is just gonna be.
So then this way, once we go to break, it's over.
It's on Westwood One.
Right.
It's not on him.
Well, that's fantastic.
Right.
Okay. So how long will this take?
Should be by Monday.
Bada bing, bada boom. Now we need a poll question. You're not going to see Teacher Tim sports betting in Florida like the way it was with the online and the app. Let's see. The elections in November probably gets taken up because we don't think anything will be done this spring, even though they could do it. But we don't think DeSantis will touch it till after the election. I'm guessing something gets done in early 23, and we've got something for the 2023 football season. I think we're looking 18 months or close to it till we have online sports betting. Maybe it's in the summer of 23. I got to admit, Felipe, physically, like you show up 5:30 in the morning, you look a certain way. By about 7:30, 8 o'clock, you look like hell. A transformation takes place, and it's not a good one.
Yeah, you're talking about right now where he looks like he's about death warmed over.
Yeah.
My bags are starting to less.
Right.
A little, I'm starting
He's starting to look better. You honestly, in about the 1/3 to 1/2 point
you'll fall asleep next segment.
You're done.
We're talking baseball, so you're barely awake over there.
I mean, you are just.
It's just can we solve the freaking lockout already, please?
Well,
tired.
we'll know one way or another.
Ugh,
I need things to talk about. Give me a month.
it's so tedious. It's so. Oh, they still haven't figured it out. We're waiting. All right, come on. Let's figure it out, please. Please.
Wife got the kid into summer camp. We're all good.
Oh, it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Now you can play golf.
Well,
we need a poll question.
It's either that or she'd have been in here every morning.
Yeah, well,
that was the alternative.
Yeah. So she needed to find a camp.
Right. Poll question.
Poll question.
Does your wife know who James Harden is? No, I'm just kidding.
Can Felipe come up with a poll question that does not involve basketball?
Yeah, of course. Boy. Of course I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I
can. I'm not a poll question that we use, not just a question.
Okay. We're coming back now. 5 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"19 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us, and we mean it. We're not just saying it. We don't just say anything on this show, to be honest with you. I mean, the show is what it is. Maybe pretty bad, pretty average, pretty decent, whatever you think, but we don't say stuff to get clicks. I will say that.
It is honest.
Right.
To a fault sometimes.
Sometimes.
So much so that it's cost us our jobs on occasion.
On a couple of occasions, actually. Only once, though, for things that we said on air. But and I will say, they didn't use it against us at the time. They just remembered it when it became time. That's all. So, Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. What's our poll question? What are you thinking? Is there a big burning question on your mind today?
I think it's got to be something along the lines of baseball. The only problem is that our audience doesn't like baseball.
Which, that's not true, because we had a discussion last week, and our audience kept growing on Twitch, and the comments were tremendous. But it was about the game, actually. Changes to the game. Hey, speaking of that, I'll just go off on a tangent. Or do you want to go with the poll question?
Well, no, I had a text. I had some baseball text here. I want to involve the audience a little bit.
Well, you always like to. You're big on that.
Text. The keyword is FSN radio. You text that to 21,000. Once you've done that, you can text as much as you'd like.
We got
this person says, I know this is unusual, but I'm a new baseball fan. I'm 37. Went to a game in 2017 just to cure my football withdrawals. Ended up having a great time. Ended up getting super into the game. When I started getting my refunds for spring training games I purchased, I was very disappointed.
Well, I could see where you would be too, because spring training's fun. I mean, it's so relaxed. I mean, it's like kind of sort of baseball. It's a lot of people watching. It's being outdoors when the weather is broken, even in Florida. We've put the 9 days of winter that we had, never more than 3 in a row, but the 9 days of winter that we had over about a 10-week period, we finally put them to bed, and we're out and about. And I mean, spring training's just fun.
I agree. This question on baseball: do you think at some point the owners decide to go all in, let the season be lost to get a salary cap and big restructure of the way they do business? I don't think there's a chance that they ever get a salary cap. The players will never allow it. Their union's strong enough that it won't happen.
Well, here's the funny thing. In essence, they already have one. This whole competitive balance tax is basically a salary cap because there's very few clubs that are willing to go over it. Only 2 or 3, in fact. Like last year, I believe the only club that went over it was the Dodgers. Now, this year, the Mets have already blown $50 million over whatever it's going to be. They could go with the players' figure, and the Mets are already $30 million over that. So you got the Dodgers and the Mets that are going to be over it this year, and I have a feeling the Yankees may also if they sign Freddie Freeman. But it's essentially Mark serving as a cap. I mean, if you only got 2-3 teams that are willing to pay the penalties, and the money, by the way, goes to the Rays and the Marlins and the Pirates and what are they now? The Guardians?
The Guardians.
Boy, I really wish the Guardians and Commanders would switch. It'd be a lot easier if the Cleveland team was
Cleveland
CC,
Commanders. I know.
The alliteration, I'd remember it. This Guardians thing is hard. I mean,
the Washington Guardians does sound better than the Washington Commanders, too.
Yes, I know. I think it would work better for both.
We should offer up a trade.
Neither fan base likes the name that's chosen. I mean, the Washington fans hate it, apparently.
They were going to hate anything.
Yeah, but I think if they had included red in with whatever they did, they would have accepted whatever they came up with. But yeah, they're not liking this. All right, that tangent's gone. So basically the sport, and that's why the owners are kind of wink, wink, nod, nod. We don't have to ask for a salary cap, although we'll keep asking for it just to annoy the heck out of them. Because what the owners, to their credit, are saying, hey, we're willing to put in a floor, and we're willing to have the floor be $100 million, by the way. Which, take a look. Marlins don't spend $100 million. Rays don't spend $100 million. Pirates don't spend $100 million.
Royals don't spend $100 million.
Not now. They did.
For about 2 years
right,
when they got good and they
right.
tried to keep guys that didn't work. So then they said, hey, let's go back to being frugal.
The Guardians there aren't spending $100 million. I mean, think about it. Oakland hasn't spent $100 million in a while. I mean, that's about a quarter of the sport we just rattled off right there. I mean, so the owner, and that's why it's kind of wink, wink, nod, nod. That's why the owners are holding so firm on what that top figure is. All right. The owners know that's a cap. The rest of the owners, I mean,
well, and that's what the players have basically blamed them for, of, in essence, collusion of not paying anybody any money. And there's going to be no way to actually prove it, but they've done it.
Listen, when the Yankees won't go over the cap, I mean, we might as well call it a cap. We'll call it a competitive balance tax, even though all that money gets siphoned off to the small market teams. I mean, Hal Steinbrenner looks at it as a cap.
And
Steve
the other
Cohen.
teams, well, the floor is fascinating too, because if you think the 7 teams that are under the floor right now want to spend any more money on salary, you're crazy.
No.
And that's where the problems lie here, is that these owners are not all on the same page.
No. The players are actually helping to fix some of the owners' problems, I could argue, to their detriment. I mean, Steve Cohen's first year, richest owner in baseball by a lot, wouldn't go over the CBT last year. It's worth $14 billion. He's worried about going 10 or so million over the CBT because of the $3 million penalty he'd have to pay on it.
And it's not that he's worried. He's probably been told by the other owners, we're not going over this thing.
Well, first year in the league, he behaved.
Yeah, now he can do what he wants.
Right. So believe it or not, the owners have said, hey, we'll put in a floor and we'll put it in much higher than you think we will if you'll give us a cap. And oh, by the way, the owners want to cap it at about $1.85. And right now the CBT that they're offering is $2.14.
And the players want it to be.
Well, the players want the CBT to be closer to $2.50. I
Right.
think their last offer on the table is like $2.44, $2.42, something like that, in which teams could spend up to $242 million. And then if they spent more than that, that's the money that starts being taxed. The owners want to make the CBT $2.14. The Dodgers and Mets are both already Dodgers already at like $2.30 and the Mets are at like $2.80. So they're just trying to figure out how much tax they're going to have to pay.
But back to your original point, is it really that? I mean, because the more I keep thinking about this, does it matter if they play?
Think about it. If people like me, the base,
Right.
the base, and you could think about it like a political party, the base. I mean, what is it that a party has to do to lose you when you're a member of the base? I walk in and press a lever, basically, for one side or the other. The only way they don't get my vote is if I don't show up.
And how do they get you to not show up when you've just sat here and said,
No.
yep, I'll show up
Right.
whenever they start? Doesn't matter. May, June, July, I'm watching. I'm in.
And how many of you out there, be honest, how many of you are like me, in which you're like, yeah, I won't admit it publicly, but I'll be there whenever they play. I'll be there. March 31st, May 1st, whatever. I'll be there. So you got those. Then you got those that have said they're done with baseball. Well, okay, nothing to lose there. So basically, Mark, it's you. You watch baseball. Not as much as you used to. You've said it's because your team's going through
Part of the reason is
dry
my
spell.
team stunk for a while here.
Right. You had a great decade from like 06 through like 2014. It's close to a decade. With the Tigers, they were really good. They were competitive, knocked on the door a bunch. And now they haven't been good for a while. And for a while there, they were not only good, but they weren't entertaining either. Now they're starting to get entertaining before they're good. Okay. Maybe they were on the verge, I think, of bringing you back.
There's no question.
Because they've got three of like the best prospects in baseball. One of them's already up, and the other two are coming this year, probably. So Cabrera's going to get his 3,000th hit this year. You would watch that, obviously. So they were probably going to bring you more into the fold even this year. Is this going to turn you away? Is this really going to, married guy with a 7-year-old daughter,
Who, by the way, and I mean, this does matter, who just started playing softball. So watching a baseball game and showing her rules and strategy and some of those things is part of the things that would happen this summer.
I mean,
you're really backing me into a corner here.
Well, but I'm trying to get you to, because it's easy for you to just go, I don't care, or it doesn't matter, or what have you.
But I don't care if they start on time. It doesn't matter to me if they play an 8. It doesn't really matter.
And I think if you're the owners, and remember, we've pointed this out, opening day does great. The rest of the month of April does not in a lot of places. The weather's not good. People don't yet have the time. The school year is still going on. People don't have vacations that they use in April in most of the rest of the country. So I'm telling you, it's why I think the owners may walk off that proverbial cliff today, because the owners look at March 31st and go, who cares? Yeah, we'll lose a few games. So we play 140 instead of 162. Because also think about it, the owners will be like, hell, we'll get them to agree to 14-game playoff. We'll get all that money back. We could lose April. We'll make more money starting May 1st with a 14-team playoff than we will if we start March 31st with no 14-team playoff.
David, this texter, right in your ballpark. Lifelong Braves fan. Sad to say I'll be there whenever they start back up. What else am I going to do on those summer nights?
Well, not only that, you guys just won the World Series. Like, if it's June 15th, they start playing. Like, you're not going to watch them raise that banner.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right there. He's right there with you.
Well,
hanging out at a local sports bar, watching baseball games, looking for somebody else that's watching baseball games to talk to.
Well, listen, I don't know if you live in the area, sir, but drive up to Northport. Go to the Braves complex. All right. They've got that tiki bar, that bar restaurant. It's open 7 days a week. Trivia on Thursdays, I'm told. Miller and Moulton.
We hope this baseball talk's not boring you as much as it's boring our producer, who just went down for the count again. We told him before the segment he was going to fall asleep during the segment, and he did.
We actually let him sleep about a minute and a half before we woke him up. Felipe, sorry, we got to go to break. We had to wake you up.
You've got your job to do now.
Press the button. It's very important. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
See,
All right.
the thing.
All right. Poll question. Anything? You can go back to that first one.
College baseball?
What was the first one?
Something about your diehard baseball.
I don't know.
Have you watched any college baseball this season?
What place will the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finish in next year?
Yeah. First, second, third, fourth.
Oh, yeah.
Let's switch right now.
Where
Transition.
will the Bucs?
We can do a nice long segment before Roy.
Damn, I saw that. That was funny. 2 games. James Harden to pass Ben Simmons on the Philadelphia 76ers all-time three-pointers made list. And here's the thing.
What thing?
I would take a nap after I get home from work, but I have class at 12:30.
Right. No. It's what he's saying.
Oh,
That-
it's bad.
In 2 months, all right, when you don't have to go to class anymore, that you can literally do your stuff here, go home and take a nap.
And then boom, I'd be ready for the rest of the day.
In fact, what you'll end up having to do is make sure the nap's not too long
Right. I have
so
to
that
set
you can go to
alarms,
bed at like 11.
midday alarms. But I feel horrible because this poor teacher that I have 3 times a week, I will die in her class sometimes. And
Well-
I'll tell her, I'll be like, I'm so sorry. I know falling asleep in class is disrespectful, but
Actually, see, we could do this on air. Okay. I have a completely different philosophy. I'm paying for this class. I'm not an arrogant person, and I really was not an arrogant person when I was a teenager. But my feeling from day one of college was, I'm paying. I'm the boss here. Seriously, I'm sorry. How could you not feel that way? And I'm paying for this class. There's nothing in it, by the way, that says I can't put my head down and go to sleep. It's on. First off, I'm there. Okay, if you have an attendance thing, I'm present. Doesn't say you have to be present and awake, by the way.
Can I do something before we go back onto air? I want to check the syllabus. Let me see.
I've never seen a syllabus that says you must be present and awake.
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
They take attendance, which I don't even think they should be allowed to do that.
What, attendance?
Yeah.
You paid for the class.
Paid for the class. Doesn't matter if you show up or not. Most college classes are a midterm and a final. Hey, it's on the student to pass. It's on the student to get the grade.
Yeah, but in this class, there's in-class activities that are graded assignments.
Okay, well, then fine.
Okay.
Then you get zeros. Hey, I'm paying for the class. If I don't go, it may cost me my grades. That's on me.
I do think you need to be a little more honest with these teachers and tell them you have a full-time job.
I have.
I'm in the industry. I need you to cut me a break.
I tell them.
I'm graduating. I have a job already waiting for me in this industry.
You really think I want to be doing
No.
investigative journalism work when I'm freaking
Yeah, and say if you want
producing
me to
a
do it-
radio
it-
show right now?
I'll start giving you segments I can produce for my show, so I can kill two birds with one stone. But where are they going to finish? First, second, third, last?
Who?
I like the question.
I do too, because you could make a case for any one of the four.
Well, sure. I mean, hell, if they're going to have Blaine Gabbert or Kyle Trask at quarterback,
Yeah, but
damn.
and
Then
Kyle
again-
Trask could still be the second best quarterback in the division. Argue with me about it. We don't even know who the starters are in two of the places right now. It's Kyle Trask or Sam Darnold right now. Who do you want?
Sam Darnold.
By how much?
-6.
He's a touchdown better than Trask?
In fact,
Only because he's got a McCaffrey.
in fact, -13.5.
Nah, give me Trask. We'll see. We're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Felipe stayed awake throughout that entire commercial break. Felipe, way to go. Good job. Just so you know, we'll be pounding on that glass in about 15 minutes when we need to go to break for the top of the hour. After we wake Felipe up and the top of the hour comes about, Roy Cummings will join us to talk about the Tampa Bay Bucs, who now have to deal with another setback. Pro Bowl guard Ali Marpette calls it a career at the age of 28. Damn. When I'm losing 28-year-old Pro Bowlers under contract, this offseason's not going how I had hoped.
Yeah, someone did text the show and says, is this more strongly influencing the return of the Buccaneers?
Well, we did. I don't know if we ever asked it in a poll question, Mark, but we did kind of throw it out there right after Brady retired. Will the Buccaneers return to being the Buccaneers?
Right.
Remember, they've only had, the 2 terrific years because, well, Tom Terrific came with them.
And Tom's gone.
Correct. I mean, he's making a movie, for goodness sakes, and he's in the movie.
Right.
So he does seem busy.
Hanging with Jane and Lily.
Right. Got to Sally Field, too.
Right.
I mean, he's some real talent he's hanging with. I didn't realize he's, so into this acting thing.
Well, and I mean, he's got 4 actresses, of which the youngest one's, 70?
Yeah. Well, it's Tom and the Golden Girls. But he's
And that's not the name of the movie, and it
No.
should be.
No, it really could be. So speaking of the Bucs, though, and whether or not we threw it out as a poll question,
We did. Where will the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finish in the NFC South?
because now they've lost Brady, they've lost Marpette, they could lose Godwin in free agency, Gronk could retire, Likely to lose O.J. Howard because, I mean, if you were him, why would you go back there to be the third-string tight end or even second-string tight end? When you were the only tight end, they didn't throw you the ball, so why would you go back?
Lenny's a free agent.
Right.
Two other linemen are free agents.
Well, regular season Lenny and playoff Lenny.
Right.
They're both free agents. It seems like you're losing two players.
I mean, you could literally make a case for any single one of these spots.
Right. Ryan Jensen is one of the 5 best centers in the league's free agent. All right. They could certainly use a guard because now either their number 2 or number 3 guard, he's a free agent. So, yeah. I mean, they got 2 tackles and Mike Evans. That we know of. And I think Ronald Jones, isn't he under contract for one more year?
And a decent amount of, well, JPP is a free agent.
Right. I think Sue's a free agent. Carlton Davis, the corner, is a free agent.
It's a nightmare for Bucs
It's
fans.
not a nightmare. No. It's difficult right now. No. You'd still rather have the Bucs scenario than the Saints scenario. The Saints have no quarterback and lost their head coach. And they're $78 million over the cap.
Rojo's an unrestricted free agent.
He is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. We got that going for us. Which
Golston,
is nice.
unrestricted free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no. They remember they brought everybody back, but they only brought them back, a lot of them, for a year. Right. Guys were like, we'll come back once. Then we got to go get paid.
So you got Jensen, you got Stinney, the one guard, you got Kappa, the other guard, that are both free agents.
Right. Yeah. Marpette, you got 2 tackles and Mike Evans. I mean, that's, and a handful, and 2 linebackers. I mean, you do.
Right.
A couple of defensive linemen, but basically I got 2 tackles. I got Mike Evans. I got 2 great linebackers.
Yep. There you go.
I got a handful of guys in the secondary and about 2 D linemen. There you go. So where are we going to finish in the South with that? I don't know. I think it's going to be hard to move the ball with 2 tackles and a wide receiver. I think we need to do a little better than that. We do have Cameron Brate, though. So I'm sorry. 2 tackles, a wide receiver, and a tight end.
And by the way, the Bucs are basically right at the cap.
Oh, yeah. Right. Because all these guys that we mentioned, they're not on next year's cap because they're not under contract.
But, I mean, the Bucs are right at the number now.
Right. That's why the likelihood that Chris Godwin comes back is not good.
Seems difficult, to say the very least.
And we haven't even gotten into the whole quarterback thing. I mean, I got to admit, Bruce Arians has got to be up for an award of some kind. I mean, he has been standing before the cameras and talking into the microphones for days now, singing the praises of Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask. I mean, that's some quality work right there. That's a great performance.
You know what's funny is Gabbert's an unrestricted free agent as well.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of demand.
No, there's not, but it'll really tell you how they feel about him when they don't re-sign him in a week. That's all I'm laughing about.
Right. He's their quarterback as of today. On March 16th, Kyle Trask could be the only one under contract on the roster. Right. Mm-hmm. So, did you vote?
I voted third.
Wow. Remember, they finished second 2 years ago, first this year. And the division they're in is bad.
Right. It looks like they're going to be also.
Well, I got to admit, it doesn't look good right now.
I think they'll be better than the Saints.
Except when they play each other, because the Saints own them.
Right. I could make a case for second. I could make a case to win the division.
Well, sure you could. I mean, the thought is they're going to get a quarterback of some kind, right? Right.
Maybe.
Right.
The latest things are Jimmy G staying in San Francisco, possibly.
Right. I know.
They're not getting Aaron Rodgers.
By the way, just quick sidebar. So you're running the Niners, and I don't mean John Lynch because he signed off on the Trey Lance deal. So you're Jed York, At what point do you walk in a meeting and go, so we're thinking about keeping Jimmy G? Yeah, we're thinking about it. Oh, okay. I just have one question. Then why did we give up all that we gave up for this Trey Lance guy if he's not even ready to play in his first 2 years? You do know at the end of year 3, we have to make a $20+ million decision on his 5th-year option, you know. I mean, did you just draft Jordan Love? Only a lot higher?
Perhaps.
I mean, what's going on here?
Perhaps.
I got to admit, I got faith that Tampa's going to rob from Peter to pay Paul, and they'll move some money down. I think Tampa also, and correct me if I'm wrong, you know how we talked about the Rams and how we feel, and me more strongly than you, that they have to do business a certain way because of the market that they're in.
Right.
And that we think the Rams are going to operate kind of like the Lakers. Like Lakers can't afford a down year. And if they do have one like they are right now, they cannot afford a second.
As they were getting booed down 19 and Jeannie
Right.
Buss is walking out of the building last night.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And by the way, they deserve that. But all the tickets are sold for this year, and they'll all be sold for next year. They will.
Absolutely.
Now, heads may roll, but the tickets will all be sold. That's not the case with the Rams. And if you're running the Bucs, the tickets were sold because of TB12. Tickets were not being sold leading up to TB12.
And tickets are not being renewed because of TB12.
So if you're Tampa, don't you have to operate like, hey, we gotta keep winning here. We gotta keep people in the fold. We need to put a good product on the field. Keep people excited about this. You know, people were making fun of us again. 10,000 empty seats again. Having trouble selling our season tickets. Everybody talking up the Rays and the Lightning.
Yes, David, you should operate that way. And I love the train of thought. But explain to me who you're going to get at quarterback. Because all of those things I think are accurate. And I think they could build a decent football team and try to do this year to year and figure out ways to essentially be a free agent type destination. It all makes a lot of sense. It's Florida, the state tax thing. There's a lot of attractive reasons for free agents to want to come play for Tampa, whether we all know it. But you have to have the guy under center.
All right. Now, listen, I'm not expecting this to be the centerpiece of a season ticket campaign. In fact, I don't know if you'll sell 13 tickets.
Here it comes.
But
wait a minute. Can I predict what you're going to say?
Sure.
Are you calling the Vikings for a trade?
No.
Okay, because
No.
usually at some point
No.
Kirk Cousins is involved.
I understand that. No, I'm thinking about taking a flyer on somebody. I'm thinking about the 2022 version of Ryan Tannehill.
Going after Mitchell Trubisky.
There you go. There you go.
Tell you, for a guy that didn't play it down, did he really improve his stock last
Boy,
year?
had a phenomenal year. Had a great year. Nobody's stock has ever gone up so much for wearing a hat and walking around with an iPad, because it's not a clipboard anymore.
Right.
You're walking around with an iPad. No doubt. Hey, how about this? I mean, do you bring in a Nick Foles?
I would not. The Trubisky thing intrigues me
Okay.
because he did take the Bears to the playoffs.
Twice.
And he was, maybe there's some rehab work that was done while in Buffalo. So that intrigues the hell out of me. I think there are going to be a few teams trying to court him, by the way.
But, I mean, think about it. He's going to go where he thinks he has the best chance to play. Now, maybe somebody just offers financially something that is far superior. But I don't know if there's a team out there that's going to bring him in the way Carolina brought in Sam Darnold
Right.
last year when they brought him in, picked up his 5th-year option, and they're like, listen, for 2 years, you're our guy. I don't know if there's a team out there that's going to do that. Like, I think Washington, if they don't get their hands on a quarterback, might get in the Trubisky sweepstakes. Pittsburgh might get their hands in the Trubisky sweepstakes.
Indianapolis
Could get their hands in the Trubisky sweepstakes.
Denver. I mean, if they're not getting Aaron,
Yeah, it's possible.
if you're in the Denver room right now and your sights are set on Aaron Rodgers, that's great, but you better have a plan B. And Mitchell Trubisky could be on the plan B.
And in theory, this is the week for Rodgers because I think it's like a week from Wednesday that the window closes as to when you can slap tags on players. So Rodgers kind of really needs to let the Packers know this week. It would be obnoxious if in the next 10 days he doesn't.
Aaron Rodgers and obnoxious.
But remember, he said he wouldn't do that to them, that he would let them know during the window. If for no other reason that he would do it for Devontae.
I got you, but what's his face? The GM just got up there and said, I never said anything about ever trading him last year. So things have changed since Aaron talked for the first time about how he was going to make his decision. That's all.
So I do think Tampa would be on the short list for Trubisky of the teams that we think could pick up the phone and go, hey, because like in Pittsburgh even, he's got it. Listen, Mason Rudolph right now is much better competition than the competition in Tampa.
No, you're right.
Now, there's no competition in Indianapolis. If they get rid of Wentz and they call Trubisky and say, we want you, you got to think, well, I'm going to be the starter there.
Right. Washington, there's going to be a little competition with Heineke, but not. And I think that even, Houston could be another spot if they wanted to go
possible.
there. There's a handful of spots, but realistically, Tampa would be as legitimate as a chance to start of anybody not named Indianapolis, David.
Yes. Like if Rodgers leaves and Green Bay's probably going to want to bring in a veteran, but they're only going to want a veteran to back up Jordan Love. I mean, they are going to give Love 17 games here. They got to know what they have to make a fifth-year option decision, if nothing else.
So I picked third, and I have no idea why. It just seemed like the right button to push.
Yeah, I'm going to pick first.
Look at you.
Because I think they're going to go get a quarterback, and I think they're going to kick the can down the road. I think they're going to go the New Orleans route here. They look at this division and go, we cannot wave a white flag. Look at this division. Come on. If we put a decent product on the field, we should win this thing. That gets us a home playoff game. Have you taken a look at the NFC? Okay, this thing's open, baby. Open
it is
for business.
It is. There's no question.
And remember, this is a franchise that has not had a lot of winning. Before Brady, it was the worst from a winning percentage standpoint, worst franchise in North American pro sports over the last 45 years.
Feeling better about my third place pick with every word that comes out of your mouth, David. You are reaffirming every part about my pick, and you might want to change your mind on yours.
Nope. I'm voting now.
We'll ask Roy Cummings where he thinks the Bucs are going to finish. Roy coming up next on the show.
That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. That's where you can go on Twitter. All right.
FloridaSportsNetwork.com. It'll be up there in a matter of seconds.
I love when you make fun of me. I make my big presentation. You're like the jury foreman that goes in to deliberate and tells the rest of the jurors, don't listen to that Yahoo. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Pushing the button. Anyways, not that this is relevant anymore, but syllabus says attendance at each class in this course is vital, as the instructor will strive to
What are
make
you hearing
classes.
about the Herb
lively.
Street thing?
Nothing.
Oh, you just reported that Herb Street's.
He did that yesterday.
Yeah.
Really? Sean Watson to Tampa.
Yep.
How funny would it be if they get Jameis?
That'll never happen.
Not with Arians there. I don't think it would happen.
No way.
I think if Arians walks away, I think it could happen. But because you got to remember, the current GM was the one that drafted Jameis.
Mm-hmm. I wonder where he will end up.
New Orleans.
I think he's right back with the Saints.
He's not terrible.
No.
He owns one of the most confusing seasons in NFL history. Oh, wow. That goalie's a wall.
That's only number 5. The guy made 3 saves on a penalty kick.
That was
The dead cap hits $20 million for Brady. They're at $33 million of dead cap money just on Marpette and Brady.
Which I gotta be honest, I think that's BS. Guys retire and you have a cap hit. I think it should go away. They retired. I know why they do it, because they don't want teams signing a veteran player to like a 3-year deal.
Right.
To spread out the cap hit, and everybody knows he's only going to play 1 more year. But
oh, wow.
Did you see the fake Michigan goal that a team ran the other day? They're on the power play, and the guys, the Michigan,
right.
So the guy goes to do it. Another skater.
Yeah, I got it.
Another skater comes. They're on the power play. So the skater's left-handed player comes flying behind the net. I take the puck like I'm going to go like this. I never had the puck. The guy came around, did a wrap around
So
the other
everybody
side.
thought the guy on the one
And
side
the guy,
was
and
doing
the guy
it. The guy
picked it
from
up
the
and he
other
wrapped
side
it
doing
around. It was
That's
sick.
fantastic.
It was sick. I think it was Merrimack College did it. It was sexy.
That's fantastic.
Right?
listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the final hour of Miller and Moulton for those of you in Lake City, for those of you in Tampa, St. Pete, and for those of you in the Port Charlotte, Venice area. We are just halfway home for those in the 239. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network on this final day of February. And breaking news on the Bucs beat on a Sunday, which is not something that you want if that's your beat, a la Roy Cummings. PewterPirates.com, PewterPirates.com. Follow him on Twitter at rcummingsfhcn. Had to do a little work on a Sunday, huh?
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere. Look, you don't expect Pro Bowl caliber left guards at the age of 28 to suddenly up and retire, especially when you're playing for a team that won a Super Bowl 2 years ago and was certainly a playoff Super Bowl contender this past season. You think you finally hit your sweet spot, especially, let's face it, Marpette was part of those, difficult years before Tom Brady got here. And, you would hope that a guy like that, certainly a leader in the locker room, would stick around and help you make the transition into the next group and, kind of try to keep the boat steady and keep it from rocking. But you know what? Marpette comes from a very interesting family, a family of people who, I would say, think outside the box a little bit. They're a little bit, they're not different. I mean, his mother's it's a very eclectic family. Father's a photographer on for runway models and things like that, and works runways. He's a film producer for that kind of thing. And his mother's a bit of a musician and, certainly a free spirit. They're different. They think a little bit differently. It's not a jock type mentality for Marpette. So yeah, a little bit of a surprise there. And it's, if you thought the loss of Tom Brady was tough, boy, this is tough too.
All right. Anybody that you talked to, anybody that you heard from, did anybody see this coming, or was this a shock to anybody and anyone you could speak to, Roy?
No, this was a shock to just about everybody. I think it's hard to know exactly what Allie's thinking here. I think he probably just feels like, hey, he probably never thought he'd have much of a shot at this anyway. And to be the player that he was or has been for the past 4 or 5 years, he's probably thinking, hey, who knew that I was ever going to get this kind of an opportunity to begin with, that I was going to achieve this level of success, for it to happen all together at once, for me to still be standing and walking on my own 2 feet without assistance. You know what? It's a tough league, and it's physically demanding. And at some point, maybe, you thought, hey, I had some other things in mind to begin with. And, maybe before it's too late, time to cash in and move forward.
Well, but Roy, from a football standpoint, and you're right, he's a little bit different guy, and this career had to surprise him in a way. I mean, he went to a D3 school, for goodness sakes. I mean, I don't think you think when you're at, Hobart, that you're going to play 7 years in the league and make $30 million and win a Super Bowl and all that sort of thing. You're thinking, I hope to get an NFL tryout and see what happens from there. But Roy, this was maybe the last great strength outside of the linebacking core on the team that now looks like they're going to have 2 tackles and who knows what in between them.
Yeah, it's tough. Look, Jason White's not afraid to gamble in the draft. I calculated. I personally think he's done a tremendous job in the draft, and there may not be a better success story than Marpette. You took a Division III player, you drafted him in the 2nd round. It paid off more than you could ever possibly imagine. He became more than just a Pro Bowl caliber guard. He was a leader in the locker room. In some ways, one of the faces of the franchise. I mean, Tom Brady obviously took that over, and Mike Evans is there, but Marpette has kind of been the leader of that offensive line now for a few years. And you're right. I think, in fact, I know for a fact, because I know Allie very well, and he never expected this. I mean, coming out of Hobart College, he's as you said, hope maybe I get a shot, and then he had this tremendous Senior Bowl, and suddenly it's, somebody took a look and said, hey, you know what? I think there's something here. And it didn't take long for him to find out that they were absolutely right. He was versatile. He played a couple of positions. And, so I think he felt like all along he hit the jackpot. He hit the jackpot being drafted. He hit the jackpot with his first contract. He hit it again when he got a second contract, hit it again when they won a Super Bowl. And I think, again, you just, when sometimes you put your goals in order and you say, hey, well, if I could do this in football, that'd be great. And once you've done it, you say, okay, well, what more do I have to do? I've got other things I want to do. I've got a family I want to start to build. I think that probably has something to do with it here. And so I think his brain, his mindset is just that, hey, let's keep going here before anything happens that I'm going to regret that I didn't move sooner on this.
All right. Here's the negative part of this, though. Between Brady and Marpette here, we got like $33 million in dead cap money. They're a team that's already at the camp. Do you see a way that they can at all be able to keep Godwin with what they're already stacked up against with the cap?
Well, it's 36 million actually. So, yeah, I still say this. Look, the cap's still going to go up. And yes, you've got this dead money, which is really, really tough. But I also think that you do have – look, you're in a rebuild. That's number one. You are in a rebuild. And I think you have to start somewhere. You have to give whoever your quarterback is going to be, whether it's Blaine Gabbert, whether it's Kyle Trask, whether it's some other free agent. I don't think you can afford to trade for anybody now. You've got to give them something. And you've got Mike Evans, and you've still got some tight end talent there. I think you have to keep the receivers just so that whoever the quarterback is has options, because you're probably going to be better at receiver now than you are at quarterback. I don't know that it's going to be Blaine Gabbert. That's certainly an option. I don't know that it's Kyle Trask. I still think you go out and you try to find somebody in free agency. But, look, those are the positions you pay for anyway. I think they're in a position in the draft, 28, where you're not going to, you're not paying a top 10 salary. I doubt that they're going to try to move up. They're not really going to be able to afford it. I don't think they're going to be too active in free agency. If they are, they're going to be going after guys on prove-it kind of deals, paying $2, $3, $4 million tops, depending on the position, and saying, hey, show us that you can play at this at a higher level, and we'll think about keeping you around. So in free agency, look for them to really be in the B group, if not the C group, in terms of targets. They're going to be looking for young guys who probably kind of failed and not lived up to the expectations, and they're going to try to give somebody a chance that they like in the draft. It could be even at the quarterback position.
Roy, do you really believe that they're going to accept the fact that they're in a rebuild? Because I don't. I think they're going to look around and go, we probably should rebuild, but we're in what now could be the worst division in the league, because at least the NFC East has, a 10-win team and a 9-win team that made the playoffs. I mean, the Saints are going to have trouble fielding a good roster, being $80 million over the cap right now. The Falcons have real issues, and Carolina's got real issues. I mean, if I'm running the Bucs and you're in the room and you go, I think we should rebuild. If I said, Roy, you're probably right, but this division is ripe for the taking, and that gets us in the playoffs. That gets us a home playoff game. I gotta keep the train moving down the tracks, Roy, because we haven't done a lot of winning here, and I can't give up on that now.
Yeah, you'd like to think that way, and you know what? Most NFL owners and executives think that way. They're very short-sighted. The problem is you have to look at it realistically. Look, the Bucs didn't make the Super Bowl this year. They didn't look very good in the playoffs. They certainly met their match. I mean, they had trouble beating bad football teams times last year. They had a hard time putting together 60 good minutes with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski and Ali Marpette and a lot of guys. They just had some problems. That's going to probably double it or not triple. They're going to have problems. They're going to struggle to put together 60 good minutes here. Yeah, you can say that we've got a roster full of talent and we can still make a run at this. And okay, so you go win your division. Wonderful, great. That's a success. Go to the playoffs. See how far you can go. That's a success. But you always knew this day of reckoning was coming. The minute you brought in Tom Brady, and then when you doubled down and brought in Rob Gronkowski, and you brought back Ndamukong Suh again, and you brought back Jason Pierre-Paul, you knew this day of reckoning was coming. You hoped it was 4 years down the road. It's 2 years down the road, but you knew it was coming. And it's no different than when they brought in John Gruden and basically said, just pushed all into the center of the table and here's all the chips. We're going for broke and Super Bowl or bust. And that's what it was. And they won the Super Bowl, but now the day of reckoning is here. And it's a little bit darker than I think they expected, because they probably didn't expect this kind of a mass exodus. But you've just lost your number one tight end, your quarterback, which is the most important of all, your best offensive lineman. You're probably going to lose a couple of D linemen because you just can't afford them anymore, and because their level of play is not matching the salary anyway. So you're going to probably have to replace Sue and Jason Pierre-Paul. You're fortunate you've still got a lot of pieces there, but you're going to have to figure it out. And, look, if what you say is accurate, that the NFC South is going to be just a mediocre division, well, then you can win it at mediocre. You can win it at 9-8. You can possibly win it at 8-9. And can you do that with Blaine Gabbert? Well, I'll say this. I mean, he probably shouldn't be on your team if you don't think you can win with him. Can you do it with Kyle Trask? Probably a little bit too soon, but we'll see. Out there, I think Jason Light and his group are very smart, very cap savvy. I think they'll figure out a way. I don't think they're going to, punt the quarterback position. I think there's a good chance that they'll bring in a solid free agent. It could even be Jameis Winston. I think he's a bargain. I think it makes a lot of sense. And we'll see where it goes. But this day of reckoning was coming no matter what. It just came a lot sooner than they thought.
All right. Our poll question today is in the way too early prediction category. First, second, third, or last. Where do the Bucs finish in the South next year?
Based on what I look at the depth chart today, and I say last. They are not a team on the rise anymore. They are a team on the decline, and it is a steep drop. It looks like today's stock market futures. It doesn't look good. It's a 400-point drop at least. And there's more trouble ahead.
Wow.
Roy Cummings bringing the sober news on a Monday. Whew. Man.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news.
No, we want honesty
we've
from you.
had enough over the last week.
Exactly.
I don't want to add to it.
Don't want to sound like an old Carson episode, but starting a little early, Ed, now, aren't you? All right, Roy. Listen, stay well. All the best to the family. Hope there's not any breaking news for you this week, and we'll talk again down the road.
Thanks for having me, guys. As always, I appreciate it.
Roy Cummings, he covers the Bucs, pewterpirates.com. Follow him on Twitter, rcummingsfhcn. Remember, he had to work yesterday. He was planning on having a Sunday off.
I know.
Beautiful weather, maybe going to the St. Pete Grand Prix, the whole deal. And then Marpette retires. Sorry, honey, got to go to work. What do you mean you got to go to work? All right. So there you have it. Last. He voted him last.
It's
our poll question. At this moment in time, where do you think the Bucs finish next year in the NFC South? First, second, third, or last? I voted first. Mark voted third. Roy Cummings votes last. Wow. 15 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Pressing the button.
Yep, that's important.
Canada, isn't it amazing that he only caught one touchdown this year? And
Who?
the Pitts,
Yes.
and the one touchdown was in London. Yeah, that was in London. There are so many good tight ends in the NFL. Is this the golden age of tight ends?
I haven't thought about it, to be honest with you.
A lot of good ones. Mark, is everything okay? What happened with the screen?
With what screen?
When we went to break, you were like pointing at some stuff.
Yeah, we're looking at the West Coast Conference's
Oh, gotcha.
format.
Gotcha.
Oh, this is nice. God, I wish I could print this. Guys got the thing set up for every conference when the games are.
You mean the conference tournament?
Yeah. I mean, he's got like just a little thing where you first, then he's got the finals in red. Every conference of when, what dates, what games are on. That's a nice little.
I'll say this. If the Falcons can get a pass rush, they could make a big climb in that division. Because they got the best quarterback in the division. Second year in the system. What'd they win? 7 games last year? Probably going to trade the wide receiver, Ridley. And well, they need to do something, Chi-Town. They haven't had a pass rush since their Super Bowl year. Chi-Town Mark says, Roy came in so hot during that segment, I feel I have to call him Mr. Cummings from now on.
This low light of Carson Wentz is rough.
I will say he did throw 27 TDs to 7 picks last year.
Yeah. But all 7 of those picks were ugly.
Oh, yeah. Well, the one against Tennessee was brutal.
That's just. I hope Ridley's back, though. He'll come back, right? We don't know. That's the thing.
I don't think he'll come back. Yeah, Ryan, I think it's a mental health issue. I don't think he's coming back to Atlanta. I think Atlanta's just going to move on.
Come to Miami.
Could be wrong.
Me speaking as if Calvin Ridley is listening right now. You're coming back.
Well, if the Saints could keep their roster together, they would win the South.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Roy Cummings bringing the heat, Mark. Last segment, bringing the heat. Ali Marpette retires. That's after Brady's retirement. Bucs have a lot of free agents. $36 million in dead cap money between Brady and Marpette's retirements and a few other things. They got some issues. So we asked the question, where are they going to finish next year in the NFC South? First, second, third, or last? I voted first. Mark voted third. Roy Cummings voted last. Said it's a rebuild. It's clear they have to rebuild. I don't think Bruce Arians sticks around for 10 minutes if they think it's a rebuild.
By the way, second and third are tied in our vote right now. First is in third place and last is in last.
There you go.
For what it's worth.
See, 2 years of winning, and you start to look at the glass as half full again.
So that's one Florida football team.
Right?
There's a story out about one of the other football teams of what they were trying to pull off this offseason. That team's the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Mike Florio posted this about 45 minutes ago on ProFootballTalk.com. Per multiple sources, the Dolphins not only planned to pursue Sean Payton to be their coach, but they were going to try to get Tom Brady to be their starting quarterback, and the plan was scrapped after Brian Flores filed his lawsuit against the NFL and specifically the Giants, Broncos, and Dolphins.
All right. Why would Flores, and I'm not being...
Why does the Flores suit have anything to do with what? I don't know.
Correct. What does it have to do with the price of tea in China? I don't get it.
Again, team sources who requested anonymity due to the sensitivity of the issues confirmed the team contacted the Saints to seek permission to speak to Payton. The Saints declined the request, and then Flores filed the lawsuit, and they didn't continue to try to pursue Payton. The Brady thing, what they're saying in the story is that they were trying to trade for the rights to Brady, and Ross was going to add Brady on as a minority owner of the team.
Well, there are many who think that Tom and Giselle are going to retire in the greater Miami area. That, they've decided, yep, Florida's it. Love the climate, the whole deal, but that they're going to move to, the East Coast. They're going to go to Miami. Okay, whatever. I mean, it's going to be a mansion and a paradise, whatever.
Wherever it is they live, it's going to be nice.
And there's a lot of options in this state.
Yes.
Yeah, they can afford waterfront property. They'll be good.
Somewhere between Palm Beach, the island of, and Miami,
yeah,
I think they can find a place.
I like their chances.
Me
I really
too.
do. In fact, I think they've already found a place.
Somewhere along Venetian Causeway.
Is my understanding. So they'll be good.
I know one of the Glazers just sold her place. Maybe she sold it to Tom.
Yeah, who knows? So, Listen, Mike Florio doesn't have the greatest rep when it comes to stories. He doesn't. That doesn't mean he's wrong in this instance, but he doesn't have the greatest rep. Him and Jason La Canfora are probably the two national names that people in the industry take with a little bit of a grain of salt. That's a fair statement by me.
I just thought we talked a little Bucs, and now I've seen a story where Miami was trying to get a coach and a quarterback.
Well, there's another story this morning that says, yeah, listen, I understand, Tua is the guy. It's still in parenthesis for now. In which, listen, the owner wants Deshaun Watson, and the owner, barring Tua really getting off and having a terrific 2022, that the owner is hell-bent on bringing in a franchise quarterback and doesn't think Tua is the guy. So, just take that story. I think that story is more believable than the Florio story. I love the Florio story, though. I mean, you know me.
Well, yeah.
But think about it, though. Peyton had 3 years left on a contract. Brady was under contract for the Bucs. I mean, this is not going to be easy. Could you imagine the grief that the Bucs would have received if they traded Tom Brady to the Dolphins?
It would be asinine.
I mean, there's
asinine, David.
There's no compensation that you could justify, even though they could walk to the podium and go, you do know he's going to be 45 next year, and you do know it's likely his last year. So we got a blank and a blank for a guy who was a rental for one more year. But I'm with you. I don't care if they got 2 first-round picks.
Anybody watch the way he played last year?
Yeah, he could easily have won the MVP. Threw for over 5,000 yards. Yeah. Best season by a Bucs quarterback ever. So that's the first part of this, because Brady was under contract. They were going to have to trade for him. And then there's the Sean Payton part of it. Now, I actually think it would have been easier to get Peyton out of New Orleans than it would have been to get Brady out of Tampa. Because in theory, if Sean was interested, if he went to Mickey and to the owner and said, I think I'm done here. 15 years, I think I'm done. And you could get we're 80 million over the cap. You could use some picks. They've got them. They're willing to give them up. All right. Take the picks. Let me go to Miami. I think I'm done here. Bucs acquired Gruden. It happens occasionally. Jets acquired Parcells from New England. It happens. But I can't imagine. And I understand on paper, 45 years old, only going to play one more year. It's arguably the biggest star that the sport's ever had.
I don't even think it's arguable.
So,
there may have been better and different things, but our climate of how much we absorb this sport and how big the NFL is right now, there's nobody bigger.
And Tampa, as we've pointed out many times, a history of losing, 3 losing seasons for every winning season in their history. They're going to trade Tom Brady. Bucs are offering you 2 first-round picks. I think, hold on a second. I want to put this on speakerphone so you guys can hear our response. And so that, okay, guys, gather around. All right, 1, 2, 3. And everybody in the room just laughs. Hell of an offer. We appreciate it. Lose our number. Thanks. So put it this way. If that was their plan, all right, then I have great concern about the Miami Dolphins going forward.
Miller and Moulton. You should probably have great concern about the Miami Dolphins going forward, too. There's no doubt there. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
This just came.
That's strange. That means the scheduled tweet had a wrong date on it.
Right.
Whoops. Let's see if I can delete that tweet. All right, hold on. Bear with me. I deleted it. There. Yeah, I can't believe Callaway dumped Phil. Are you serious?
I know I'm biased. I'm outraged. If I was Phil, I would not come back from this humble. I might fake it publicly, but I'm pissed. I'm pissed. And I don't have one fucking friend on the PGA Tour.
Nope.
Are you serious? Are you serious? And Justin Thomas, I'll light you on fire if I ever get the chance. Okay.
What did Justin say?
Oh, Justin's been next to Rory.
I know Rory's been bad.
But I can't believe there's not and for 30 years he's given writers quotes, and there's not one golf guy who can write a column that goes, okay, I think we've beaten him up enough. Okay. This is getting a little carried away. He got carried away. He's paying a huge price. But come on now.
But Adam, he didn't take any of this auto money. It's not like he took the money.
What, he played over there? Hell, they've been playing over there.
They're all played over there.
They're all playing over there. Well, not everybody. Like Rory won't. But, and by the way, Rory's played in some European Tour world events that we could go after him for. Listen, Phil's my guy, and he screwed up, and you got to pay a price. I get it.
$30 seconds.
He needs Augusta National.
That was pretty.
If
John
nothing
Moran.
happens in the next 5 weeks, he needs Augusta National to bail him out.
Current John Morant is better than MVP Derrick Rose. We're back in 5.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
$23 before the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Poll question. The Bucs look to be falling apart. Tom retires, bunch of free agents. Now Ali Marpette retires. 2 other free agents on the offensive line. No cap room. In fact, they've now got to clear some money with Marpette's retirement to just get to the cap. Going to have $36 million of dead money between Brady and Marpette's retirement. So where do you think they're going to finish right now, this moment in time? Gut feeling, Bucs, NFC South. Where would they rank to you? First, second, third, or last? I think it's going to be a good poll question.
I do too.
We're all over the place on it. So we hit on a good one. I voted first. Mark voted third.
Right.
Roy Cummings didn't vote, but he said last. How about it? Well, we got into a little thing during the commercial break there and on the Twitch chat room. You just simply said Callaway bailed on Phil, although I thought they put it on pause.
They put it on pause, which now makes the 4th company, because it started with KPMG left him, and then Workday, and he did stuff with Amstel Light and Heineken, their parent company. They all bailed, and Callaway is now bailed with a pause. They're
Right.
pausing.
Of their relationship with Phil Mickelson. I'm going to say it again. What is it that he do that's this wrong? Could you help me with this? Because I'm a Phil guy, so I'm a little biased here.
Well, David, this is the old thing. Free speech, but free speech has consequences.
I get it. And I totally
And
believe
these
it.
companies in today's world felt that his speech was worthy, or his words were worthy of companies dumping him. That's as simple as that. I mean, you know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
But no, what did he say that is so offensive, that has made him so toxic that he now has a scarlet letter branded on him? I mean, am I naive here? Am I missing something? I think this is one of the great overreactions that we've seen in a while.
Called them scary MFers.
Yeah, he's talking about the Saudis, by the way. He's not talking about the PGA Tour. He's not talking about Tiger and players on the tour. He's talking about the Saudi Arabian regime. What? These companies supporting the Saudi Arabian regime and taking it out on Phil? Honestly. He picks up the phone. He calls a reporter in November, by the way. It's never been pointed out for all the people that are crushing him. The context of the Saudi League in November versus the Saudi League in February. In November, he made these comments. They only came out 2 weeks ago.
And David, again, he said it about the Saudis. He did nothing on the course. Said nothing on the course. has not really ever conducted himself in a way on the course that would require a suspension.
Now, he said a couple ridiculous things about the PGA Tour. I mean, when he talked about the PGA Tour and obnoxious greed, and a few players on tour who are fans of Phil said, hey, Phil, I think one should look in the mirror before they talk about obnoxious greed. And that's a very valid point.
And the Callaway one stuns me because they're putting it on pause until he comes back to golf. At which point, are they going to just back him again? Your suspension's only as long as what the PGA Tour deemed you were suspended? Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. You took time off.
I mean, could somebody help me here? I get players being mad at him. I get the tour being furious with him. I get it. You know, you and I both think he's suspended right now. I don't know if we'll ever find out that
Never
story. But not one golfer, by the way, not one, and not one member of the golf media. Hey, there are people that don't like Phil. There are people that think Phil has been a fraud for 30 years. I get it. There are a lot of people that like Phil. Phil's done a lot for a lot of people. The same golf media has spent the last 10 years telling us he's the glue to the Ryder Cup room. He was the guy who reached out to the young players and welcomed them in. And not one of those young players and not one of these writers has one decent thing to say about him right now.
The tour's completely bailed on him. And I wonder, David, if the tour players have completely bailed on him. I wonder how much pressure the tour put on Callaway and knowing the others would follow suit. Because the tour's relationship with Callaway, of all these sponsors, that's the one that stings. Okay, so Heineken and Workday and KPE, whatever.
I'll get three more look just like
exactly.
him.
But Callaway?
I mean,
you've been with the guy a long damn time.
Remember,
there's a reason why he's with Callaway.
Phil went to Callaway in the middle of 2004, right before the Ryder Cup, when he was having the best year of his career and what turned out to be the best year of his career. And he made a very controversial decision to change his club manufacturer and go with Callaway. So, I mean, he's been with him 17 and a half years. He's basically ready to go to college with Callaway. And there's not one, and by the way, you don't have to come out and say great things about Phil. I can't believe there's not one person in the golf world who this week didn't come out and still today has yet to come out and go, okay, let's take a deep breath. He's been a human piñata for the month of February. And you know what? Maybe he's earned it. But this is one of the 15 greatest golfers of all time. This is a great American golfer. He has been there for United States golf for 30 years. He's answered all of your questions, by the way, for 30 years. Has anybody given more of their time to the media than this guy? And he's done a decent number of things to promote golf and work with the next generation of tour players and all that. And none of you can say, all right, we took our pound of flesh. Now let's take a step back, let the guy breathe. And by the way, we'll welcome him back with open arms. He screwed up. You know, friends, family, they screw up. You still love them. You give them a hug and you move forward.
And David, the more I listen to you and just think about it, I think that the tour are the ones that put pressure on Callaway. I think the tour put pressure on these sponsors. I think the tour has the same vendetta now against Phil that they did against Norman. Anybody that tries to take on the tour tries to crush them. And what Phil did at the end of the day, David, was said a lot of disparaging things about the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour didn't like it. Whether or not the things that he said about the tour had any basis of truth in them doesn't matter to the PGA Tour. Tour felt that they looked bad because of Mickelson, and they're going after Mickelson.
I'm
just telling you, I think the tour put pressure on Callaway to make the suspension.
Well, that's fine, but what about all these independent contractors here? I mean, do you really think? I mean, come on now. There's a few. I mean, listen, Brooks Koepka. Does Brooks Koepka listen to anybody?
Nope.
All right. If the PGA Tour came to Brooks Koepka and said, you've got a blankety blank Phil Mickelson publicly, and if he didn't want to, I think Brooks Koepka would tell the PGA Tour to go blank themselves. I do. Now, Koepka was the one who said, hey, really? Obnoxious greed? Phil? Take it easy now, big fellow. Look in the mirror. And Koepka's come out, supported the tour, and said, I think Phil's wrong. But I get the PGA Tour being furious with him, Mark. I get that. I get them wanting to light him on fire. I don't get the entire golf media world and the entire rank of PGA Tour players. And not one of them can say or write, okay, we've had our pound of flesh. Just back off. He screwed up. We all know he screwed up. He knows he screwed up. All right. We'll see him at the Masters. Let's move on with our lives. Nobody is offering him a life raft.
Not a one. And obviously, Augusta has nothing to do with Phil taking time off. If this is a suspension or if it's actually Phil stepping away for a little while, it will be very interesting to see what the second weekend in April.
Yeah.
If Mickelson's in Augusta.
Oh, put it this way. If he's not at Augusta, it's a suspension.
But they can't suspend him.
Well, I agree. I don't think a PGA Tour suspension applies to Augusta. But I will say, when we all know DJ got suspended for 6 months when he took his leave, I mean, he didn't play the Masters. So, maybe there's a wink, wink, nod, nod agreement between Augusta and the PGA Tour in which they go, well, if you put someone on double secret probation, we'll honor it. I mean, come on. He's a 3-time champion.
Right.
I mean, there's only he'll be in all likelihood, because we don't think Tiger's going to play Augusta this year. I mean, he would be the most accomplished golfer in the field. Obviously, he's 51. He's, he would get huge roars when he walked up the 18th fairway, whether it was just Thursday, Friday, or whether he did it 4 times. And we all thought before he won the PGA 9-10 months ago that if Phil was ever going to have a great moment again, we thought it would be at Augusta. Like Freddie, who contended multiple times in his 50s. We thought, Phil could be on the first page of the leaderboard on the weekend there. I'm not shocked, because there's not much that shocks me anymore. I am surprised. I am unbelievably disappointed in a whole bunch of people, and not one of them, not one. I mean, honestly, you're going to lose the sponsor over it? What's the PGA
even the
Tour
players who said I think Phil's wrong, no one's even backed Phil for what he's done for the game either. It's just Phil's wrong for the most part.
And by the way, there's not one of these players that's some of the stuff that he brought up about the PGA Tour. Guess what? The players, after throwing Phil off to the side of the road, have taken at least 2 of his major beefs and have brought it to the PGA Tour and said, hey, we want answers and we want changes now. This is ridiculous. Really? None of you went public about any of that? I mean, it's like Greg Norman. And I'm not talking about Greg Norman now. Greg Norman 30 years ago, you know where the whole World Golf WGC stuff came from? Came from Norman's idea. And remember, the PGA Tour all but threatened to kick him off the tour. And a year later took his idea and implemented it under their umbrella.
Which shows you, by the way, as we're doing all this baseball stuff and how powerful the baseball union is, hey, the PGA Tour as a corporation is as powerful as anything in sports. Because look what they're doing.
Yeah.
These are independent contractors. They don't even have, there's not a players union against the PGA Tour. And yet they can rule with authoritarian dictatorship type tactics and get away with it.
Right. I mean, it's supposed to be the PGA Tour. It's supposed to be the Players Tour. And that's another thing that Phil said. There's no transparency. They've got $800 million in reserves. I mean,
now I will say before some of those comments, I don't know how they do their pension because we've talked about it. There is no greater pension out there than what the PGA Tour gives their members.
Right.
It's
and
ridiculous.
healthcare and the whole deal. And there have been a few who cover the LPGA Tour that are like, hey, can we point out some of the discrepancies? I think LPGA Tour players get $1,500 for health insurance. $1,500. Here's a little stipend. Put it towards your healthcare.
I'll leave that alone.
Okay. But we talked about this. When Bobby Bowden had players who got in trouble, there'd be a few members of the media who would go after him. SI put him on the cover and all that. But most of the national media gave whatever trouble they were in, just, kid gloves treatment. Why was that, Mark?
Because Bobby talked to everybody, anytime, anywhere, and was always gracious with his time with the media.
How many interviews Phil Mickelson turned down in the last 30 years, Mark?
Not very many.
And there is no greater thing you can do to a member of the media than talk to them. They kind of need you. And there's not one of them
who's given the time to give Phil another shot.
Yeah.
We're coming over. Okay. We're coming off the top rope a little hard here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm disappointed.
Because, by the way, if Callaway wanted to do this on their own, they would have done it prior to the weekend. That came from the tour. I believe it in my bones, David. Pressure came from the tour.
I am disappointed. As my grandfather said to me one time, crushed me, absolutely devastated me, dropped me to my knees inside. When as a 15-year-old, he told me he was disappointed in me.
About the same time my grandmother told me that.
Just rocked me to my core.
I think I was a little older than that. I did throw a party in her condo while she was in Florida and basically almost got her kicked out of it.
I could see where she'd be disappointed.
No, you did not.
Yeah. My mother was so mad at me. They called my uncle to come take care of the condo. My grandmother came back from Florida and looked at me and she said, "I'm disappointed." And she cried. And then she gave me a hug.
Oh.
And my mother just looked at me and went, "That's it? That's all? That's all you're going to say is that you're disappointed in him? Can you hit him? Can you grab a wooden spoon? Can you do something other than I'm disappointed and hug the kid? You're not a good example right now."
Yeah, my abuela maybe would have taken it a step further.
Although you did make grandma cry, though. I mean,
I felt badly.
Yeah, I could see where you would.
That one hits different.
Miller and Moulton.
Disappointed.
I think if
it applies.
And that's why, by the way, if I was Phil, I would not come back humble. I might fake it with a whole bunch of people. It's too bad he won the 2021 PGA. Because if he could have won the 2022 PGA, it might have been the ultimate blank you to the golf world.
Now he might not even play in it.
Yeah, I know. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program
The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I wonder if Callaway sells any golf clubs in Saudi Arabia.
Mhm. Where do you want to go this hour?
I don't know. We probably should go baseball again, do you think, to start us off?
Yep.
Nice. Phil Steele is releasing his projected preseason AP top 10 for 2022. What did Kyler Murray?
What's the name of the dude that won the Firestone Grand Prix again? I'll just look it up.
McLaughlin.
Oh, that's right, McLaughlin.
Here, ironically, the first time that NATO forces were ever used in a military action was 28 years ago today. Just read that paragraph and tell me if that wouldn't apply to today.
Coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton, the local hour on the Florida Sports Network.
So much to get to in the local hour. I've been looking forward to this all morning.
Where do you want to start?
Well, we got two different areas we could go because it is the local hour. We know some of you are listening, watching on Twitch and listening online and could be listening from areas outside of Southwest Florida. But we're going to get a little bit nitty gritty because there's two things I wanted to talk about. One we can just spend 2 minutes on for me, if you will. You're a Fort Myers resident.
Right.
I am a Fort Myers resident, even though they got an Estero thing there. It doesn't even really count. Colonial and 75 is about to have this whole new interchange.
Yeah.
We have been adding traffic circles to Southwest Florida for the better part of a decade,
Right.
and no one knows how to drive in them. Went out to breakfast Sunday after church and went to Gateway to my place there, Skinny Dogs, and they've got a new Gateway traffic circle. What a cluster. And it's just a simple little, this is Sunday morning.
Right.
You know, it's not like there's a lot of traffic.
Right.
And people are losing their minds. This thing on Colonial that they're doing,
Right.
where we've got cars kind of going the wrong way on the road and crossing over and back and forth.
Right. Yeah.
David, there is part of me that wants to get a lawn chair, a cooler of beer, and just sit there the first day that sucker's open.
I think we could sell tickets.
I mean, this is like watching people drive in the snow in Atlanta.
Yeah, this is not going to go well at the beginning. I could bet the ranch on that. Yep. Could set up a grandstand. It'd be obnoxious, but all right. May try to get a permit and find out if there's just a little patch of land where we could just, camp out. Like you said, get a little hot dog stand or.
Because I don't even know what to call this traffic thing. It's not a traffic circle. It's not a roundabout. It's a new way they're trying to get us through this interchange.
Is it like an X?
Yes.
Yes, there's multiple of those in Miami, and the thing that's unfortunate about that is that it's actually really good for the flow of traffic.
Right, but you also have to take into account that we're one of the oldest communities in the United States. We already have a hell of a time driving. Every day you see a car that is in the far left lane make a right turn.
And
damn.
And vice versa. How many far right lanes making left turns? Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, I need to go over there. There's 3 lanes of traffic. No, it's okay. I got to go where I got to go. Right.
It is a diverging diamond intersection is what I'm being told it's called.
Right.
You know what it's going to be? A gigantic cluster blank.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, this thing has got chaos written all over it.
Just this Diamond X brought to you by, and it's going to be like a wrecker service.
Right.
Well, my father used to drive a wrecker. I loved it. Probably the best job he had growing up for me. The few weekends that I spent with him, he'd take me out on the runs. All right. It was just one accident after another.
Mark makes a great point in the Twitch chat room. There is a bar at Top Golf. You probably could see it, from Top Golf. You've got some there. I like that, Mark.
They may do even better than we think because of it. What are you going to Top Golf for? Well, we're going to do 2 hours of renting and what have you. Then we're just going to hang out, watch the accidents.
So I just had to get that off my chest because every time I see one of the news stations running their promos, I don't watch a lot of local news, but I watch enough television to see them promo the stories, and they've been all over this one.
Sure.
This is a biggie.
Yeah, for us.
It's an A block.
Yeah, every damn day. We could have the accident counter.
Not to mention, and Felipe, to your point, great. They have these. I've not ever seen this. I've actually never driven on one of these. It seemed to me, you follow the signs and it should work out okay, but people have a lot of trouble with signs.
Speaking of following the signs, if you'll allow me, quick tangent. If you're paying attention to this whole, Russia-Ukraine thing. So apparently, first off, some of these tanks, they only go about 200 miles, so they run out of gas. I like that. But those that apparently have enough gas to get to their final destination, the Ukrainians said, well, we got to take our signs down. These guys don't know where they're going. We got to take the signs down that say Kiev, arrow to the left. So they've either A, taken the signs down, or B, they've replaced what was on the signs. And essentially, all the cities have been replaced with go blank yourself. With
outstanding
arrows pointed in all sorts of directions. So.
But back to the roads here, just my final thought. So I get it, and hopefully it works out well. But what do we have here? We have an older population that doesn't like change. We have a tourist-driven economy where people are coming in for a week at a time. This thing is not going to go well.
Certainly.
It's all about 2024.
When do they think it's going to be like, when are we going to start?
This week, I believe.
No, that's when they start the construction though, right? Or
no, we're close to opening this sucker, aren't we?
Really?
There's been construction there.
Yeah,
for a
well,
bit
I've
now.
avoided.
Good.
Yeah, this thing's about ready.
Oh, wow. This is fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, we keep talking about where it is we could do live shows from. I mean,
is there a record service that wants to sponsor a show? We've got a location. Need a long extension cord and a tent.
Mark, I got to be honest. I think we could do the whole first week. I mean, you really think after 1 or 2 days the accidents are going to stop?
I don't.
No,
I don't.
No. So it's just a thought, you talk to Marty and the guys and see they're always looking to get us out on location. And
anything
we keep
for a
saying
buck.
no, right? But, hey, where are they? There sounds like there's a lot of traffic in the background. Screeching tires. Yep. All right.
And we thought we missed out by not going to the Grand Prix over the weekend.
There was a moment earlier in the show that if you missed it, young Felipe fell asleep. And I mean hard. Now he's fallen asleep before during the show. I mean, heck, my wife takes a nap to the first hour of our show. All right. And hey, nobody puts a woman to sleep quite like,
Miller and Moulton.
Right. So, Felipe's up early as long as he shows up and as long as he hits the button once we go to break, that's all we really care about. So he was asleep. We were doing a segment. Well, we had like 3 or more minutes till we went to break. So we let him sleep. But I mean, he was out, when
the head dropped, because
Right.
he had it in the hand and then the whole thing, and it dropped and he didn't wake up from
No.
it. That's how hard the
Right.
sleep was. The head moved a good 4 or 5 inches off the hand, falling, and he didn't even snap back waking up.
Like when you have the newborn and the neck doesn't work yet, okay, and they're kind of like a bobblehead doll. Well, that was Felipe there. He first to the side and then forward. So, it comes time, we're getting near break. Mark has to get up and he kind of takes his fist and pounds the glass. And Felipe acts like he's been shot. Stands up.
I did give it a pretty good rap.
Yeah. So, we were talking to him and said, hey, how are you handling class? And Felipe goes, well, I got to be honest. There's just one class. I put my head down and I go to sleep and, I'm getting in trouble. And I took great offense to that.
Yep.
What do you mean you're getting in trouble? And Felipe looks at me like I'm an idiot. David, I'm falling asleep in class.
It's disrespectful, he said. I get it. It's disrespect. He goes, I get it. It's disrespectful for the teacher.
Well, and I understand where they could take it that way, but you, Felipe, have you talked to the teacher about this?
I have.
Okay. Did you say, listen, this is not about you?
Of course.
This is about me.
Yes. I said I wake up every morning at around 4:30. I have a job that I work until 10:30, and then I go to class.
Right.
And I'm exhausted.
Right.
And it's nothing against the class, but it kind of is.
Well, you just, right. You
lectures.
But you didn't give that impression. You looked him or her right in the eyes and you said, listen,
and lied to the best of your ability.
This is me.
Of course.
The class is fine. I'm exhausted.
Yes.
Right. And are they disciplining you? Are they taking points off your grade?
They are sympathetic, but points are class
Seriously.
class participation.
Oh, okay. All right, because you're not participating. I get it. By the way, quick word of advice, participate in the first 15 minutes of class.
Yeah.
Then put your head down.
Oh, since then, that's what I've been trying to do.
There you go. All right, smart kid.
But David then had an out-of-body experience regarding class attendance, sleeping in class,
Yeah.
anything in class, basically.
All right. Yes, I was the kid that always talked too much. Both Miller and Moulton had that on their report cards. You know, sometimes you get the satisfactory, unsatisfactory behavior. We'd be two of the rare kids that got the U, the explanation, talks too much. Got it, the whole deal. But, you know, day one of college, I'm sorry, we're paying for the class. We're paying credits.
Correct.
We're actually paying the teacher's salary.
100%.
Okay. If we're not disturbing the class, in fact, I don't think attendance should be part of it, to be honest with you. I don't think it should matter if you're there. I mean, college, for the most part, is about midterms and finals. All right. Hey, if you don't go to class and you can ace this class, well, it probably doesn't say much about the class and how it's being taught. In theory, if you don't show up, you should get a really bad grade. Well, you're paying for that really bad grade. That's on you. And I'm not trying to come off as disrespectful to the teachers. To me, the teachers are irrelevant in this conversation. But in college, all right, I don't think that there should be an attendance part of the syllabus. I don't think it should matter. You know, well, you get 5 points, you show up for class. Well, I'm paying for it, so I can pay not to go. I mean, isn't that the right of paying? You buy season tickets to a baseball team. Do you go to every game?
Nope.
They still got their money.
Right.
They wish you'd go.
They like you just as much, as long as you keep renewing those tickets.
Yeah. I mean, they wish you'd go. You'd spend more money with them, parking and concessions and all that. But I mean, I did one teacher I had an issue with in college. And I fell asleep and the class was over and I was still asleep and nobody woke me up.
That's fantastic.
And so I was sound asleep. And apparently that room was empty for an entire class, but somebody came into the next class and kind of woke me up. And I went, oh, thanks. I mean, got a really good nap. That was a quality
Wow.
nap. That's
Down
good.
hard.
Yeah.
Wipe the drool off the table.
Everything.
Sometimes the most quality naps are during class. I can't even explain it, but you just die.
And so, you know, the teacher said, I'm taking points off your grade. And I was basically like, I will fight this all the way to the president of the university, just to let you know. You got to be kidding me. It's all right.
Did you win?
In this, yes, in the syllabus, by the way. Does it attendance? Okay. Does it say anything about staying awake? I'm being drop dead. I literally said to him, I go, I've got your syllabus right here.
Trying not to interrupt you with laughter.
I opened it up and I put it in front of him and I go, attendance, right? Have I been to every class? Yes. What's the problem? Well, you fall asleep sometimes. I go, is there anything in there about falling asleep? Anything at all?
It's all
Rough
about,
Tough in the Twitch chat room says, stand up in the back of the class. That's what we did in the Navy. It's not Navy, it's college. In Paper City says, college is the only business where the workers get the best parking spots and the customers have to walk a mile. Ain't that the truth? I have parking tickets still probably that are unpaid from Michigan State University.
I don't get it. I really don't. I'd be down at the dean's, vice dean, whatever. I'd be in trouble. I was in trouble in the mid-'80s. I'd be in trouble again. I'm sorry. Every question asked, my answers are better than theirs. I'm telling you. This isn't picking games here where I'm terrible. All right. This isn't doing trivia where I forget the right answers. No. There's not a single syllabus that's ever been handed out in college that says anything about staying awake.
Not to mention, as Fam says here in our Twitch chat room, whether you show up or not, the professor gets the same wage.
Yeah.
They're not paid on whether you pass the class, whether you get a C in the class. They don't get bonuses because they give out the most A's. Trust me, if they did, they'd give out more.
And it's one of those classes where no one wants to talk. Everyone's just, I want to talk. Hey, what's up, man? I don't know you. Let's be friends. Let's be class friends. No one wants to talk to me. What I'm going to do, I'm going to fall asleep.
95% of classes, the students are just like, listen, just 50 minutes. Can we get this over with? All right, please.
I wonder if, much like in the East Coast Hockey League, where there's now a rule that broadcasters are not allowed to drink,
Right.
if that professor, as Mr. Boutte says, if that next class on the syllabus, you must attend class and stay awake.
And, well,
wait.
Then they got one on you.
Well, that's true, but I'd fight that too.
You said now there's a rule where they can't
Well,
drink?
I think after the fact. What? Oh, in the ECHL?
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Mark Miller rule.
Paper City Gamer, a teacher locked the door because you're a minute late. Give me a break. I pay for this class.
What is this, Mr. Hand? This Fast Times at Ridgemont High for crying
that
out
never
loud?
happened to me, because if it did, I would have broke the window. Oh, I absolutely locked the door. Are you kidding me?
Gosh, I wish I'd have known you in your 20s.
Yeah, I
really do.
I was a handful. Not gonna lie, and I knew it. I knew it.
We know.
I was a good guy. I was a good guy, but there were a couple of things in which, I kind of lost it.
Well, we hope you don't lose it too much with us, and we thank you for listening. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I had preschool at my school. It was a half-day thing when I was like 4, and then you went to kindergarten. They had a preschool at Havens Elementary. Again, I lived in the sticks a little bit too, so this isn't.
So apparently, in Union County, New Jersey, Clark, the school district, or the Clark School District's rule was you could enter the class if you were 4 between first day of school and December 31st. If you were turning 5 in that window,
right,
from first day of school to December 31st, you could go to kindergarten at 4. So I made it by 12 days. And my mother was like, "Oh yeah."
By the way, speaking of which, she just texted you.
How to get you out of the house.
I thought I saw Mom on there. I always laugh right after that segment, Mom.
My mom says, "But you were respectful when respect was warranted." No, it's true, but there were 2 or 3 things. I'm sorry.
Klecko.
No, the $2 Molson's was later on in life. But I did on Thursday nights, I DJ'd at the wine cellar, and it closed at 2:00. So, I didn't get home till 3:30. And it was an 8:30 class.
What did you use to DJ? Like what kind
Oh,
of
it was
were you working with?
records.
That's
You
awesome.
DJ'd with records. I was, the road board, as we called it. And so I would DJ at the wine cellar. And of course, I was underage and I drank. And it's not like they were going to stop you there. So, you'd go home, you'd get your 4-hour sleep. And I lived kind of on top of a hill in the hill section of Scranton. And it was like 3 blocks down to the main road. And then where this particular building was, it was about a good 8 blocks. And I'm talking like healthy blocks. And so it took a little while. And there were times, show up a few minutes late. I did not, and I stole cassettes, fam, in high school. I stole cassettes. Loved Road Board. Golly, that was fun.
Clecko, I wish I didn't have to pay an extra $10 to get Chick-fil-A breakfast every morning, since by the time I'm out of here, it's already closed. It's such BS. I hate it. Extend it to 11, please.
Breakfast usually ends 10:30.
10.
God, man. The Chick-fil-A breakfast is
Better than the lunch?
I think so.
I think my
You do?
favorite I think my favorite thing on the Chick-fil-A menu are chicken minis. Chicken with a biscuit, like a honey biscuit. So good.
As Klecko says, maybe you should, hit Mark's gas station tacos on the way home.
Ooh, they have a great breakfast burrito. I'm not joking. Next to the Wendy's, Corkscrew and 41.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That mobile gas station.
Yeah.
First off, their tacos are fantastic, but their breakfast burrito is about the size of your arm for like $6.
Don't tempt me. Go over there right now.
I think it's $6.50 for a breakfast burrito, and it's
Well, we used to go to the Wendy's when we were in the afternoons. We would tape a segment, and if we knew we were going to the tape segment, we would get in the car, go to the Wendy's, get our food, come back, and the segment would still be going.
That's awesome.
they're talking about overtime crap again too. That's the only other thing we didn't really get to today.
We can get to it.
That's why I brought it up, because I don't think there's much there to do much more than a very small segment on it.
And then we can mention the baseball and move on to the ending of the show.
Mm-hmm.
You what, David? Dottie G can move the rock.
Dottie G, as in Kirsten Bell.
Correct.
Gotcha.
She is Dottie G. She's very good at passing the ball.
She is.
Yeah.
Yep. She's making a huge mistake.
So she's not. She's
Leaving
going
a year early. Yeah. A huge mistake.
She's declaring.
Oh,
she already did declare.
She declared, got hurt, and there was some thought that she might, but she walked out with the seniors on Saturday and declared afterwards, "Yeah, I hope you root for me in the WNBA." Making a big mistake.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
As we approach 24 minutes past the hour, thanks for being with us. The bonus hour, the local hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. All that good stuff, along with our final thoughts coming up in about 15 minutes' time. So there's something we've yet to talk about today. And it involves the National Football League.
How'd we miss that?
I don't know. So, you got the competition committee, Mark, which is usually where good ideas go to die. But they're thinking about making a couple changes.
Trying to tweak overtime, aren't they?
They're now thinking about everybody's got to get the ball once. I think it's a mistake.
I think it's a horrible mistake. I don't even want it for just the playoffs. Because whatever they do for the regular season would go to the playoffs. If they wanted to change the rule for the playoffs, I could grit my teeth hard and swallow. But in the regular season, we don't need more. We have so infrequent overtime games anyhow.
Why are they not just making it a fifth quarter? That's what I don't understand. The very easy solution is, okay, we're going to play 10 more minutes. And you play it in its entirety. Same rules, 2-minute warning if you'd like. Give each team 2 timeouts. And there you go. So if the Bills-Chiefs playoff game and the Chiefs go down and they take 5.5 minutes and they score a touchdown, okay, kick off to the Bills. They got 4.5 minutes, 2 timeouts, and a 2-minute warning. Good luck. If they score a touchdown, great. What if they kick a field goal and line up for an onside kick? I mean, can we just play in the regular season? It's a 10-minute quarter. But, you got the rule. If you just have a safety or a touchdown on the first possession, it's over. To me, because very rarely, Mark, do you have a 10-minute drive. And quite frankly, if you allow the team's offense to stay on the field for 10 minutes, you deserve to lose.
Absolutely. And we get it. Defenses are shot by the time you get to that point in the season, or that point in the game, rather. But both of them are out there.
Yeah.
And we're going to play 10 minutes.
There you go.
I don't know why we need to play this. I score a touchdown. Now you get a possession. You're going to go 4 downs every time. Because in our world, they go 3 and out, they punt, and they just play defense.
And by the way, 10 minutes is 2/3 of a quarter. A quarter takes around 40 minutes on average. So we're talking about 25 minutes, which is important to the NFL. Now, it's not in the playoffs, but they have windows, and they like to stay in them. It's not college football. Can have a 4.5-hour game. They don't care. Pick up the other game in the third quarter. Doesn't bother college football and the networks apparently in the least. Pro football, oh, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. When those games go overtime and they start talking about we may have to push the kickoff back, it's a huge deal.
But they're not going to go to this. If they do anything, they're just going to play each team gets a possession, which I don't like.
Well, here's why I don't like it. It's actually an advantage to the team who gets the ball second. They now know they got 4 downs. I mean, if the other team scored, they know they have to use all 4 downs. The first team who has the ball, they're facing a 4th and long, okay? They're going to punt or they may kick a field goal. The other team's going to know what the rules are. Oh, they've scored a touchdown. They have a chance, by the way, to win the game. Score a touchdown. We're going to go for 2 in the win. I don't like it.
I don't either.
Here you go. 10 minutes.
I've said this for a while. I've thought that just adding another quarter run's the way to do it. Because then there's strategy. Hey, if you got a 4th down, I got both my timeouts left. We're not going anywhere. I can punt the ball and try to play defense and get it back.
Well, I mean, also you may get the ball twice. Both teams may get the ball twice. It's another reason why the whole coin toss thing is important, which, I don't know if you're.
I'm on your team. Home team gets the ball.
Yeah.
I'd eliminate the coin toss for every game that's not a neutral site game.
Yeah, the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, as you pointed out, we bet on this sucker. Millions. So we're going to keep that. Besides, you bring out the, older player, the commemorative coin toss, it's fun.
And you still don't, you can let the home team make the determination. They're still going to walk out and do their captain thing.
Yeah.
They're still going to have to choose sides.
Mm-hmm.
The referee's still going to give the
the
signal because we can defer and things like that. So your pomp and circumstance of the game are exactly the same with the exception of no coin flip. Home team, Mr. Moulton, what are you going to do? We're going to defer to the second half. Visiting team, what end did you like to defend?
Right.
Okay.
And you do it during the 3-minute break in between the end of regulation and the start of overtime. And TV could either show it live or tape it. Show it when we come back at a break. Yeah, I don't like it.
Do you think it gets done? I think there's a lot of momentum for it. There's no doubt there, David.
Yeah, which is funny because the Chiefs beat the Bills in overtime, winning the coin toss and scoring first. The very next week in the very same stadium, the Chiefs and the Bengals went to overtime. Didn't the Chiefs win the toss and the Bengals won the game.
It sounds about right to me.
Right. So now I will say, in playoff overtime, the teams that get the ball first have a much better recent track record of winning. I think it's another reason to, play the quarter, so to speak. It could be why, though, they want to insist in the playoffs. See, that's the other thing. I would not be in favor of this in the regular season. They talking about making this change in the regular season or just the playoffs?
Don't know. They're talking about changing overtime rules. I hope it's just the postseason, David.
Don't like it. Don't like it. And that for Paper City Gamer in our Twitch chat room, why not play a 15-minute overtime? Too long. Too long. NFL wants to fit these games in a window. Sorry. It's an entertainment product. I know to you it's life and death and what have you. To the NFL, it's just this is entertainment. And by the way, we make most of our money from the TV network. So we really, in the playoffs, we need to cater to them. We really do. I mean, every one of them's given us at least $2 billion. We really need to try to fit it in a window for them. It's the least we could do. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, and an update on the baseball negotiations. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Were you saying something?
No.
Here's the problem for the FGCU women, Klecko, and for anyone else. While they're ranked in the low 20s, their net rating is in the high 30s, which is all because of the conference they play in, because their out-of-conference RPI is 4, and their out-of-conference strength of schedule is 12. So you would think with those two stats and going 26-2, and one of the two losses is to a team ranked in the top 30 in the net, you would think that they would be seeded better than a 7 and a 10. But that's probably where they're going to be seeded, 7, 8, 9, or 10. So first off, their first round games, basically a toss-up, and they'll be playing a 1 or a 2 seed in the second round. So, are they going to have a run? Probably not.
Is each section of the women's March Madness bracket regional?
No.
So
No, it's just like the men.
right. So there is a chance that we could match up with Iowa in the first round.
Yeah.
How awesome would that be?
Yeah. It'd be fun.
Because I'm just thinking of how we could get the most national limelight. That would be one of them.
Now, I will say, because most years they're only get in as a conference champion, so they wouldn't get an at-large. So they're seated somewhere between 12 and 14.
Right.
In that case, they try to cut down on travel if they can. Like they've played Miami a couple times when Miami's been a 4 or 5 and FGC has been a 12, 13. They just figure we'll put them together, have them play each other.
Do they have a shot because of 68 to get an at-large?
Yeah. Oh, I think the win at Liberty actually got them in the tournament, even if by chance
They lose to Liberty in the final again.
Yeah.
The last time when we played Miami in March, I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. That was a close game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they lost by 7. We bet it. Remember? FGCU Miami. I think it was 2019. I think it was 3 years ago because the 2020 tournament got canceled. Yeah, we took FGCU in the points. Mark had to look hard for it. Because the line was surprising. I remember going, "Oh, Mark, there's no way they don't cover that." He's like, "You sure?" I go, "Oh, yeah." He says, "Want to bet it?" So we took money out of our LLC and bet it. Might be the only, it's damn outside of paying for equipment and, a couple of services.
Yeah.
And we bought some Phil Steele books. But I mean, we haven't done a whole lot with it together. In fact, it's probably the only outside the show thing we've ever done with our money.
Adam, you really didn't remember Dunk City. I get, you're a sports guy. Like, you really didn't remember the Dunk City run? Okay. Because you're a sports fan.
Oh no.
Is that Randolph Childress?
Oh, I bet you that's pretty good.
Yeah.
By the way, since you said the Blazers won't win 10 more games for the rest of the season, they're 3-3.
So, I will say, though, they're coming down to earth now.
Yeah, because I think they were 3-1.
Well, yeah, they lost their last 3 because it was against 3 really good teams. But they beat the Bucs. We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening. The local hour, the bonus hour, here on the Florida Sports Network. Without further ado, it is time for...
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
Well, Mark, I'm going to go old school.
All right.
I think this qualifies. 1784, John Wesley charters the Methodist Church, at least in the United States. 3 years later.
Good defense, strong up the middle.
Yep. For those that don't know, when I was dating my wife, had the first big family dinner, and my wife is the daughter of a Methodist minister, and I'm Catholic. So apparently that was quite the topic of conversation in amongst the family. Got to admit, never came up on my side. Not once. But so first family dinner, and my to-be mother-in-law was to my right, and my to-be father-in-law was to my left, and my mother-in-law tried to, midway through the dinner, just slyly bring up, "So, David, how do you feel about the Methodists?" And without lifting my head up, I just kept eating, and I said, "Well, they're strong up. They play good defense, and they're strong up the middle." And my soon-to-be brother-in-law looked over at my soon-to-be father-in-law, kind of like, "All right, we're going to let him in."
It's a good answer.
He can
It's
join
a
the
good
club.
answer then. It's a good answer now, David.
3 years later, Mark, 1787, speaking of charters, the University of Pittsburgh is granted its charter. So Pitt is 235 years old today.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Pitt. Good thing you're playing West Virginia to start
Yeah,
this
we wouldn't be
season.
as happy about you
Exactly.
if you weren't.
Right. 1849. Basically, today was considered the beginning of the gold rush. The first boatload of folks from the East Coast arrived in the West Coast in San Francisco, and the prospectors were there looking for gold. So February 28th, 1849, considered the beginning of the gold rush. A year later, Mark, the University of Utah opened in Salt Lake City. The Phillies, Mark, in 1903 were sold for $170,000.
Seems like a lot of money in 1903.
Yes, it really does. I mean, you know, the TV and radio money hadn't kicked in yet.
Not to mention, they were getting nothing for streaming.
Didn't have the night games. Right.
Not even doing a day-night doubleheader at that time.
No, they missed out. 1940, first televised basketball game in this country. Pitt beat Fordham 50-37. 19 years later, a big NFL trade. This is for me. The Chicago Cardinals, I always love when we can go teams that don't exist anymore, although they exist as the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals trade Ollie Matson, a future Hall of Famer, to the LA Rams. Pete Rozelle makes this trade. Then GM, soon to become commissioner of the NFL. Rozelle gives up 9 players for Ollie Matson, who would play 4 years with the Rams in his Hall of Fame career. Mark, last week you were talking about Squaw Valley in California. Well, the Winter Olympics in Squaw Valley wrapped up today, but the U.S. won hockey gold. We beat Czechoslovakia 9-4. On this day in 1966, Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, they begin a joint holdout. They negotiated together.
Pretty strong.
They were
pre-union days, obviously.
Right.
So
Dodgers won the World Series the year before in 1965. This would be Koufax's last year, 1966. I believe they were looking for $100,000 each, and they got it. Good for them. Mark, 1971, Jack wins the PGA.
That's right. February the 28th, Jack wins the PGA.
Because it was played on the east coast of Florida. They figured that, well, we got to play this sucker early in the year, otherwise it'll be too hot. Wouldn't that be great if they could do it again? I think they're going to try to work in a Florida course in May. It'll be warm.
They would be able, more than likely, to tear it up, though.
I know.
There's no wind.
Yeah. But there's courses, it's
a
way to get a Florida course, in the major rotation, if you will. Where are we? 1976, the Grammys. Mark, the record of the year was Love Will Keep Us Together.
I read this. I was afraid you were going to do it because for the rest of the day, people are going to be singing that song in their head and cursing you.
Wasn't that the Captain and Tennille? No?
Yeah.
Love.
You're
Love
right.
will keep us
I think
together.
that's right.
Yep. Natalie,
babe, whenever.
Yeah, Natalie Cole, by the way, first ever Black artist to win Best New Artist at the Grammys in 1976. It was the 18th Grammys. So the first one was in the late 50s. Yeah, there were a few artists there that
probably missed a couple.
Yeah. James Brown comes to mind. On this day in 1983, the final episode of MASH. It was 2 hours. CBS. 125 million people watched.
I was one of them.
So was I. That's more than I've ever watched a Super Bowl. MASH. On this date in 1983. Oh, by the way, U2 releases the album War on the same day. Their third album. 1993, Waco. FBI raid, Branch Davidian's compound. Yeah, that didn't go well. 10 years ago today, Matt Kenseth wins the Daytona 500. And 8 years ago today, Russia moves into Crimea to, quote, protect their interests in Ukraine. Putin's not going to annex Crimea. That's not going to happen.
Yep.
Bugsy Siegel, Mark, was born on this day in 1906.
We could use him right now. Let him go hit Putin.
Charles Durning. Remember the great character actor, Charles Durning? He was born on this day in 1923. Hayden Fry would have been 93 today. Peter Alice and Dean Smith, both born on this day in 1931. Bubba Smith would have been 77 today. Mark Pavlich would have been 64 today. And the guy who founded the Rolling Stones, Brian Jones, would have been 80 today. Mario Andretti is 82. Brian Billick is 68. Adrian Dantley is 67. I'll bet you he could still get you double digits in the post. Stick that butt of his into you, hit that little turnaround fadeaway. No doubt in my mind. JT Snow is 54. Eric Lindros is 49. Tayshaun Prince is 42. Aroldis Chapman is 34. Randy Arozarena is 27. Luka Doncic is 23 today. Jason Aldean is 45, by the way. And that is today was the day.
I got nothing. You got War in there, which I was pretty pumped about. There's a few other things on that day, so.
I saw U2 the next year.
On that tour, then.
Yeah,
the U.S. part of the War tour.
So I saw them on the
Sunday,
War
Bloody
tour.
Sunday, New Year's Day, for those wondering. Their first kind of political album. And I don't know what happened to them after that. They kind of just disappeared.
Right.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
This, got to give you a minute here for the good, because we go to Port St. Lucie, where an 81-year-old man and his dog were doing their walk around the lake when he lost control of his electric wheelchair. It went into the lake. The dog starts going nuts, so much so that two people across the street heard Sarah Jane, the dog, barking. That's when Edwin and his friend Jacob rushed over. They flagged down a local police officer. The three of them got Mr. Smith out of the water. The electric wheelchair was not doing so well, so they had to push him home with the dog on the side, wagging her tail all the way back. Harry gave the dog a treat. Says, I love her so much. Well, you better give her 2 treats, for crying out loud.
Really?
For the back of San Carlos Park, where an unidentified man lost control of his pickup while to try to negotiate a left curve, according to FHP. He rolled over the truck in the crash, and it came to a stop on its left side. The driver, described only as a Hispanic man, ran away, leaving his 47-year-old female passenger behind. She suffered minor injuries in the crash. She's not saying who was driving. For the ugly, we go to Winter Haven, where this guy could be the dumbest human I've ever heard of in my life. But deputies were trying to arrest a 27-year-old man when he jumped out of his pickup truck with a rifle in one hand and a bottle of Busch Light in the other. Sounds like a party to me. The sergeant who was behind the suspect and was not able to see the bottle heard a popping noise. That's because the dumbass took the bottle of beer and broke it over his own head. The noise from said bottle breaking confused the sergeant, who thought it was a popping noise, shot the man, hit him in the neck.
Oh, come on.
The man was taken to the hospital with injuries that were thought not to be life-threatening. He had stolen a pickup from a supermarket parking lot, and that's why they were chasing him. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, this last day of February 2022.
All right. Today's the day. This is it, supposedly. By the way, do you believe today's the day?
I do.
So you believe the owners and the commissioner.
They seem hell-bent on it, David.
When they said, hey, if we don't have a deal by the end of today, then we're going to cancel opening day. The thought is, by the way, they won't just cancel opening day, that if they're losing March 31st, they're going to lose the first week.
Yep.
And the owner's insisting that, hey, you ain't getting paid for these games that you're not playing, just so you know. Because the word's kind of out there that the players are like, last minute negotiations. We give them their 14-team playoff, but we say it's contingent upon us getting paid for the games we miss. And the owners are like, hell with that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the first week be done by the end of the day.
According to union sources, because there was a report late in the afternoon yesterday saying, hey, making real progress. All right. People in the room think that there's a clear path to a deal. And one of the guys in the room on the player's side sent out a tweet right back that said,
we ain't close.
Your information is false. So there you go. We'll see what happens.
Some top 25 basketball tonight. Iowa's hosting Northwestern. They're a 10.5-point favorite. Number 9, Texas Tech, a 12.5-point favorite at home against Kansas State. Baylor on the road at Texas. Baylor's a 1.5-point favorite in that one. And UCLA, an 8.5-point favorite on the road tonight at Washington.
NBA tonight, there's 7 games, both the Magic and Heat in action. Heat are home for the Bulls. Wow. I think it's for first in the East. Miami's a game ahead of Chicago.
Yep.
The Heat are a 4-point favorite. Got to lay the 4, don't you? Come on. It's big boy time. Come on, really?
At home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to lay the 4. Magic are home for the Pacers, who just whooped up on the Celtics last night. A couple of good young teams playing tonight, though. Minnesota's in Cleveland, for what that's worth.
3 NHL games, Leafs at Caps, Canucks at Devils, Bruins at Kings late night.
But this is the week that the small conference tournaments get underway. There's also a game that's being finished today.
Correct.
Is it like Towson and Delaware or somebody like that?
Exactly right. It's going to be picked up at 38-29 with Delaware in the lead.
With like 18 and change to go. Wasn't it like, I don't know, condensation on the court or something? They had to stop the game. So they're finishing it today. It's for the number 1 seed in the Colonial, by the way.
And by the way, Fairleigh Dickinson and Central Connecticut State go at it in whatever the hell conference they're in. That's the first actual tournament game. Does begin today. There's one.
Man, that's fantastic. Give me some 7 o'clock ESPN2
Bingo.
basketball.
That might be on the U. Don't kid yourself.
That's true. That's pretty far down the totem pole. Loser goes home, though. That's all that counts, Mark. Loser goes home.
Might not even be on television.
Come on. Isn't it like the NEC or something like that? So there you have it.
I don't know about laying the points for that Heat game. DeMar DeRozan's the best fourth quarter scorer this season.
No, the Bulls are playing great. And I get it. They're a good team. They're legit. It's big boy time. I mean, 4 is not a lot of points. I mean, you're almost betting who do you think is going to win. So Miller
there you
and
have
Moulton. Yeah. So you think this time tomorrow, opening week's canceled?
I do.
Hope you're wrong, but I think you're going to be right. Miller and Moulton, have a great rest of your day, and thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicle